Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm opening the morning Discord this morning to kind of do a little test or another test to determine if I can leave something alone for a couple hours on my main channel and not have it go to shit. So we're gonna give it a try here. I'm probably gonna have loss of power this morning. Supposedly the power companies were doing replacement of the power poles in the areas, so they had a couple scheduled outages. They postponed the last one till today. The robocall last night said it was supposed to be this morning, but it's already a half hour past their time, and they haven't taken off power yet. But then we got a letter in the mail saying they're doing a power outage on March 1st, which is going to kind of suck because I have an interview with somebody on March 1st, but we might be able to arrange something. So either A, the power's going to go out sometime, the live stream will just end, or B, when I wake up, I will end the feed. But I do have to get sleep. I was up all night preparing for this power outage because I figured at 8 o'clock we would have no power for like 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, whatever the hell it was. And so I just sleep through the day. I mean, what else am I going to do? So I don't know what it is, if we're going to have power outage or not, but I figured I'd open this up and try to promote the GDC Discord a little more. I know, I'm sorry, not General, Ocean has worked really, really hard on putting this together, and I told him I will be promoting it for him, and we're running a lot of the hangouts from the Discord rather than G Plus, but not the guest ones. The guest is just, I found it easier with the G Plus, but most of the bigger name guests we're putting to the Non Sequitur Show channel. So for those who have not yet gone and subscribed to the Non Sequitur Show channel, go do so. We have Aaron Rock tomorrow. We're putting out, maybe today. We put out a teaser for it. We just had Seth Andrews from the Thinking Atheist on a little while ago. His video's out. We have Anthony Magnabosco coming up. We might have Matt Dillahunty. We might even have Thunderfoot. So we've got a lot of people that we've been talking to, and even some names you may not even know, but are going to be awesome guests. Like this one lady we just talked to who was all into spiritualism and how it relates to sex and the universal consciousness. It was kind of like some kind of religious science, I think it was called. But it was very interesting. So that we finished that interview. That was actually cut, and that should be out next week. So if you have not yet gone to the Non Sequitur Show and subscribed, go check it out. We've actually just reached the top 500 on Anchor. We went from top 5,000 podcast to top 500. We have over 2,000 subscribers now for our podcast. We have over 1,000 downloads just from Fireside FM iTunes. We're on Apple News now. We made Apple News. We are going to be on track for new and what is it called? New and I can't remember. Not new and improved, but new and notable. That's what it goes. New and notable. For the podcast, but we basically are, I would say, doing as best as possible for a brand new podcast can possibly do. We're on 15 RSS feeds. I mean, most podcasts don't last very long. They don't get a handful of downloads. Our first podcast had over 500 downloads, and I think we have 6,000 views on that video so far. So we are going to be promoting the crap out of the Non Sequitur Show. It is the direction that I'm going. I think we're going to be huge. We already have an affiliate. We have also a possible sponsor, so we're going to be promoting that quite a bit. And as you can see by the intro we had from the last one, we're working on all the graphics for it. So anyways, this is going to be an open hangout. A lot of people are actually in here right now. You're only going to be visible if you speak and you're off server mute. So if you do not know how to come in here, or you do not know how to get off server mute, because you can't do it yourself, contact a mod. There's 3 or 4 in here right now. Or just type in the stream chat, and somebody will move that for you once they verify your account. So we're going to give it a go. We're going to turn over. I got Max, I got Gob, got Anon, and I got Cyborg, and a few other people. So have at it, people. I will be listening off and on, but I'm really going to be crashed out for at least another 4 hours or so. I got to get some sleep today. So, sound good?
Add me on Discord.
Add you on Discord.
No, it's just because I'm playing PUBG.
Oh. All right. Well, like I said, you guys don't have to come in. You don't have to talk. We have the chat going on the outside. It doesn't record the internal chat. The stream chat is not broadcasted. I thought about that, but I figured, do you really need to? So I think it's better just to have the outside chat captured on the stream. What do you guys think?
I guess.
Can anybody hear me?
Yes, Gob.
Cool. You're kind of quiet, but I can rectify that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can boost up his audio. Oh, but I got echo.
Yeah, I'm on an old phone.
Yeah, somebody has
I
asked.
can tell the
This,
echo. Ugh.
this is just random conversation today. This is a test for the morning stream to see if it, have people join and stuff like that. I've been running them at night, but I haven't done any in the morning yet. So this is a good time for me because it takes up a lot of processing power. So I'm not going to be using my computer when I'm streaming. That way I can go crash and I don't have to worry about it. So we'll see what the conversation goes to, and eventually I will have targeted type conversations, right? Specific things we want to talk about. But right now, I just want to kind of test it out and see what kind of goes if I don't have any kind of direction, and if people come in, or if they just want to talk in the outside chat, that's fine too. Whatever, that gets recorded. Okay? So good luck.
Okay.
Shalom.
Yeah, all right.
I'll let it be known that you are all beautiful people, and thank you for joining Steve's stream.
And Max has mods, Max has mods, Max has mods. By the way, I did invite Darwin's DD on over, so maybe you guys might
Damn
have
it,
a...
Steve. You just said Max has mods. You took my next 30 minutes of attention.
But, you didn't say it, so I beat you to it. But maybe you get
God
Darwin's
damn
to
it.
drop by. That'd be cool. But yeah, I
I
gotta
can
go.
tell him I have mods.
They would have a mod war, right? He has mods, you have mods, right? But he doesn't have mods. He won't stay. I can try to get him in here. Like I said, I messaged him the other day, so try again today.
All right. So, what did we want to talk about?
Give me a second. I landed in a hot zone. Well, that got fucked up. Alright, what do we want to talk about?
We could talk about the failures of the American educational system. I'm kind of doing that with Famous Anon right now.
Boom! That's a good topic, because I have things to say.
Same. It's horrible.
I mean, especially with what's currently going on. Our own president thinks it's a good idea to arm teachers, but he won't even fucking pay them.
I mean, he also thought it was a good idea to just sort of, oh wait, that's not related.
Huh?
Nothing. I was gonna mention legislation he tried and failed to pass, but it's not related.
Involving.
What?
Not involving education?
Not involving education.
Oh, yeah. Gotta cut education funding whenever you can, right?
Oh yeah, it all needs to go into the military, obviously.
Yeah.
Military this, military that, and granted, I appreciate our military, like, holy shit, but too much funding, not enough care.
NASA deserves more funding. Anyway, also the education system does, and so does medical research, and anything that's important.
If you guys want to come in and you don't have a mic, that's fine. We have a internal chat that you can just sort of type into, and we'll see it.
Yes, and I have mods, so if you want to come in, just know that.
Yeah, just message me or Max, I guess. There's probably somebody else in here I'm not seeing that has mods. Anyways, so one of my bigger problems is that and I mean some states, some places are trying to fix up the educational system. It's very slow, but it's happening. Anyways, one of my bigger problems is that they don't really try to teach kids anymore.
No,
I mean,
they just...
if you look at it, the last real big, like, nationwide change to our educational system was in the industrial era, which makes a lot of sense if you look at classroom structure.
Yeah.
Desks are neat little rows, unless your teacher's fancy. You have to raise your hand to get the foreman's attention. I meant teacher. You have to ask for bathroom breaks, and you're all given the exact same assignment to produce by a certain amount of time.
Yeah, that's doesn't take into account the intellectual differences.
Oh, I'm wrong. There was one big classroom change, and that was that black students could join in on white classes then. that's good, but that's not enough.
That's good, but it's also duh. We should have had that from the freaking start.
Oops.
Oops. What?
Oops.
Did you like accidentally kill somebody? Boot someone?
I'm playing a game while we do this. I killed something.
Oh, I'm also playing a game.
Because this game doesn't require very much of my mind to play, so I can talk and just do
The problem
random
is this
bullshit.
game requires me to pay attention to it. Like I need to listen and stuff, but whatever. I have mods.
That's about that, isn't it? Dude, the standardized tests are fucking horribly designed. Honestly, they don't help students in any way. Mostly because none of the classes help students either.
Yeah, no, they kind of really have to redesign that.
I mean, the teachers, they just sort of bark information at you, and while some of them are nice about it, not really helpful to the student to just sort of have this information in front of them and not
Yeah,
be taught how to learn it. Because they also don't teach, I mean, they act like they teach critical thinking, but they don't.
no. Ooh, that's not good.
Wow. Texas would find a way to make their test acronym STAR. Lone Star State.
Oh, shit.
By the way, Anon, I hate Texas.
You hate Texas?
I absolutely despise Texas because fuck Texas. Their laws
Yeah,
are raping me in the ass. It's horrible.
Do you live in Texas?
I live next to Texas
Oh.
in New Mexico.
Yeah, Texas sucks. Watched R and Raw help shut down a bill that was basically going to try to get teachers to teach the controversy. Sorry, people. There's no such thing. At least with what they're trying to push. Texas.
Don't get me started on Texas weather. I got off a plane in Houston, and by the time I got onto my connecting flight, I felt like I was melting like a snowman. It's horrible. And that was at night. I swear. I thought New Mexico weather was crazy because it's temperamental. Hello.
So is Florida's weather.
I wish severe weather was a stranger to me. Holy shit. I would be happy.
Welcome to the stream, Philosophist.
I tried to get us talking about the failures of the educational system. That didn't go for very long.
No, it didn't. I was interested.
Are we going to try and continue that?
Yeah, actually, what I brought up about arming teachers being stupid because they don't fucking pay the teachers in the first place is one of my grievances. There's some teachers in states like Oklahoma that have to work second jobs, so they have to change their work week to a fucking 4-day work week, so on the 5th day they can work at fucking Walmart or something.
So I knew this, one of my teachers, Mr. Gallegos. He was a retired military veteran, and I swear he had a nut loose. A big old nut just loose.
Steve
I would not
told
trust
you.
that dude. I would not trust him with a gun in my classroom.
Yeah, no. A better suggestion, like, may not be the one, but it's better, is, just couple armed guards or something.
Yeah, I'd be okay with like like campus security being like slightly better armed than they are and far more widespread than they are. Because I remember I never saw a Okay, so we only had one campus security guard at every school until I got into my community college here in town, and then I saw them everywhere, and that struck me as odd because that's a college. Why don't we protect the actual children with like armed guards? At least give them a guard, like 20 guards on campus at all times with like big fucking batons.
Yeah. And like you want to train the teachers, you want to give them guns, and you want to train them in firearms and probably some light combat training. Jesus Christ.
If I were to ever consider that, they would have to go through much more rigorous mental tests than most shooters do go through.
Yeah.
Because I'd want to know, like, am I arming a mass murderer or am I arming a teacher who gives a shit about his students' protection?
Right.
Could honestly go either way.
That's a lot to unpack. It really is. Good morning.
Good morning, Bullinator. Did I say
Bullinator,
that all right?
Yes, well, close enough. By the way, who server muted me? That's just my big question right now.
Can I server?
Red Eye's here.
I cannot server mute you, so it wasn't me. Hey, Red Eye's here. Red Eye, you wanna add to the topic? If you know what it is. Because I don't know what the school.
Okay, look at if
I'll
somebody
show you.
joins and they don't have VIP or member, they're going to get server muted when they enter. So make sure if you see anybody enter, you check them for server mute and then you take.
I
them
have
off
been.
It. I don't know why.
Did I miss someone?
Yeah, I don't know why Bullinator should never be server muted. He was a mod, but Red Eye was server muted and so was Opal, and nobody took him off.
Well, it might be because somebody took those roles, like somebody took the roles away from me. Like I don't have the role VIP or member. Which
Yeah, I just noticed that you have mod.
I don't understand why I would have mod but not those two.
Well, mod should be enough.
No, now you
regardless.
do. No, you do. You do.
I just gave them to myself.
Oh, okay, yeah, I thought so because I checked and you only had mod, and I was like, why do you only have mod?
If you want, you should be able to check in the audit log to see who removed that.
Everybody should have member, and then if you verify they have a mic and they're good and everything, then give them VIP. Simple as that.
Yeah.
But you got to make sure that you take them off server mute because we have a ton of people in here, and
Does
a couple of them had
anyone know
server
that
mute.
person in the waiting room?
How Red Eye had server mute, I have no idea. I gave him VIP and member, and so he should have had that before. Just be aware of it.
Yeah. I don't know
Alright.
who would take that away.
By the way, morning Red Eye, whatever time it is in your lands.
2:45 in the morning. I don't sleep apparently.
You apparently do not.
That's all right. I don't sleep either.
Sleep is for the weak.
Too, so.
Wait, is sleep for the weak or is it for the weak?
It's
I
for
don't know,
the
I've been
weak,
trying to get
as
it, but
in
my roommate was talking to me, then I
WEAK.
just came back to check what was going on. And
W-E-E-K?
No, W-E-A-K.
For me.
No.
we got more
W-E-E-K.
people in here than we do have normally a hangout, but they're just not everybody.
Yeah,
on mic.
That's because it's early morning and more people are awake, Steve.
Yeah, and I think people like the Discord. I think Discord's better than Hangouts. For
It is,
most
it's a lot
people,
better.
Yeah.
It's more organizable.
Anyway, Steve, go back to bed. I have mine.
Yeah, I
You have
gotta
to
go to sleep.
Hello.
Alright,
you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Chris.
How you doing?
Hey, Steve, I just sent you a DM on Twitter, mate. That explains why I lost all my settings and shit.
Okay, I'll
Alright,
check it out. And by the way, somebody just popped
anyone
in.
have anything to add to the topic?
Okay, I'll check it out. And by the way, somebody just popped in, and you guys did not check for server mute as I asked you. There's somebody sitting here that is server muted.
Well, who popped in? I didn't notice.
Well, just check the people that have mics that are turned off.
Is this
There's
currently
actually
being
two.
streamed, Steve?
That's what I'm doing.
Hang on one sec.
So, are we going to get back on topic or are we going to finish this?
Yeah, Famous Amos has his mic off, and there's two people sitting here that are trying to speak that are server muted.
I'm checking everybody who has their mic muted. And they've all got
I'll get
the
to my
happy
piece
member
in a
thing.
second.
Are we live? Are we being
Yes.
streamed?
Yeah, they're streamed. You guys can't see, if you right click on their mic, there's a blue box with a check mark on it that says server mute. There's 2 people on here right now that are server muted.
It shouldn't be. I just went through and unmuted
GCS and
everyone.
Marvs.
I went through and I gave them the roles that I don't
have
have the
to take
option on server mute.
They'll have to reconnect.
I do
Don't
not
they
have that
reconnect?
ability.
You do not?
As a mod, no, I do not.
Really?
I don't have that
I-
ability either. I just
yeah.
went to server mute and tried to test it out, and
I mean,
I don't
I
have
can-
permissions.
I can't unserver mute people, but I can kick and I can ban them. So
what
that's a
what do
weird
you need
thing.
what do you need to unserver mute?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, if you want us to be unserver muting people, Steve, we need the ability to unserver mute.
Right. What role
Yeah,
do you need for
stop
that?
yelling.
That'll
what
be
do I
in
need?
You'll be in the go into the moderator's role and just have a look through the permissions that they've got and allow them to do it in the moderator's role.
I've
add
explained
that.
to you how to get to the permissions page.
No, I know
Steve.
how to
You
do
can
that.
this.
I'll take care of it right now. One sec.
Mod me again, please.
God, Ken.
It's you go to roles and it'll be about.
I'm assuming people can hear me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
Oh, you sound kind of distant.
Oh, I'll see what I can do.
It'll be under voice permissions, which is at the bottom. If you just scroll all the way down on the roles.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be in like admin permissions?
Well, it's just roles mod. That's all he's got to do.
Uh,
But it says
Hey, David.
it says it's active, so I don't know why we can't do it. Because I could see it on myself when I came in, and now I can't see it, which is well and truly strange.
yeah, I don't understand what you guys have done to this Discord. My Discord has none of these problems.
Damn it, Steve! You ruined Ocean's Discord.
Not
Actually,
surprising. He's really old.
it changed when I gave myself those roles,
Yeah, no, he's set it up. I'm trying.
and it came back when I took the VIP and member roles away. When I give myself VIP, it doesn't go away.
Oh, the roles are conflicting. Is what's happening.
Yeah,
Well, when I originally joined, I had to restart my phone for it to work.
no,
Uh,
it's the VIP role that's killing it, and then the member role is killing it too. So
Oh.
any role that conflicts with the mod role, that's probably why it takes it away. But then
Because
the mod role needs the thing that stops it from muting here.
okay, so
What
what you
is-
need to do for that is you need to tell Discord that the mod role takes priority over the member and VIP roles, and I think you do that by moving them. It should be like that. The mod role is above VIP. My server's like that.
The individual channel has to have
So-
moderators that.
It does.
What I'm doing right now, Steve, is I went into the permissions of
Yeah,
the
I'm-
Streamline panel, and I'm clicking on the
I'm
mod
giving-
role, and
yeah.
I'm changing speak.
Yeah.
And turning on speak.
I'm okay. Look at. I'm giving Mod the ability to do just about everything right now. Don't tell Ocean real quick.
Thank you.
Move. Yeah, you know what?
Okay, do
I'm
I
just.
sound better?
You have
What?
to set up each permission for each channel you want to do it in too, because fuck
Yeah.
having uniform fucking rules for
Yeah.
all the fucking
Okay,
channels.
so,
That's what-
so,
okay, hang on a second.
if you
What I did.
wanna do this
What I
the real
did.
easy
Listen.
way, you don't have to
listen.
go through one role. You don't
What
have
I
to go
did-
through
listen,
one.
what I did was
page
Yeah,
for
at
you
a
this-
should
time.
do it for the whole stream thing.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just doing it for this particular channel. Admin and moderators, and also give VIP probably as well, will have abilities to do everything, just for this particular stream channel. Okay.
Oh God, are you checking admin for all of us? Because that's not wise.
Well, it's just for this particular. It's just for this particular stream. Is it? You can move, you can deafen, you can mute, you can speak, you can connect, you can view.
Okay.
You might want to
Yeah,
push to
I don't
talk.
think that's a good idea.
Why would that be a good idea for moderators?
You don't
Hey,
want to
can
use
I
push to
can I
talk.
do one thing, guys? Can I do one thing?
Oh, Pigsy, hi.
Can I do one thing, please?
No.
Let me
no.
do one thing.
Do what?
I want permission to do one thing. One
What
thing
is
that
it?
moderators have availability to do.
Well,
Delete channel.
No. Consider
No.
being a moderator, then
Oh. Man, I was so
Wait,
close to deleting the channel.
Yeah,
I
that
was
is
wanting
why I don't
permission
give
to
bots
do
to
that.
everybody.
I don't see. Oh,
I didn't do it, by the way. I asked for permission to.
okay, yeah, everything but push to talk. I didn't use the push to talk.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But everything out: moves, deafen, mute, speak, connect, voice channel. You don't need webhooks. Manage permissions. Okay, you don't need that either. Okay, so you can't change permissions of the channel, and you don't need push to talk. But everything else, if you're a mod or VIP, you should have permissions to take people and take it off server mute.
All right.
Yeah, so now if I go to somebody who just popped in, who doesn't have roles, like Famous Anon who just popped in, server mute and kick Famous and server deafen and ban are there.
Yeah, I can unmute people now.
Okay, so that works.
Yeah. It'll need reform later, but it works for now.
Yeah, it's just right now.
The nerd just pop member.
All right, so if we're just good to, if we can do this now, we're good to start, right?
Yeah, you're good to go.
Get things rolling.
It's,
All right.
It's just whatever topic you guys are talking about.
So we were talking about the failures of the American educational system, and if you want to bring in another nation, I don't mind.
Oh, good.
Who's Ganesh in here? Ganesh? What?
That section of the top.
No, I got it. I'm here, Steve.
Oh, you fixed. Okay, I got you. All right,
Do
thank
I
you, Ganesh.
sound better, by the way?
Yeah, a little better.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh my God, this
That's
is
like
gonna
a
get
bit-
overflowing here in a minute. We've already got 15 people in here.
well, I won't stay in too long.
No, that's great. No, let it. If we can get 50 people in here, go for it. I want to see when I review this if the mods can handle that many people in here.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
You got
I mean,
it set for a limit
this
of
card is
20,
very
so-
lightweight. You'd be able to handle how many ever you want.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of Discord is because with a hangout you can only have what 10.
Yeah, and you're gonna have as many as
25
you
max,
want in
I
here.
think.
Yeah, well, I don't have.
No,
It's a
you
lot
can
more
have
organized
more
this
than
way.
20.
You can see
I'm
who's
taking
doing what, how, and when.
over for Discord.
Eating a pot pie.
Like,
Currently,
I never
the
did.
current max is set to 99. Just FYI.
Yeah, well.
Well, yeah.
All right, well, what can go wrong?
Should be fine.
All right.
I don't think we'll be able to get 95.
You don't know. There's a lot of members in the GDC, you know.
Oh, you
So,
said
Ron,
it's a
Steve, you could have
99?
Look a Pig demonetizing every single video on their channel. That's
Nah, I'll
another
ban
story.
Look a Pig. Totally. Totally. Yeah, you Look a Pig. Banned.
You're right. You're right, the geek room. Don't let
Ever.
Look a Pig do anything.
Ever.
I have a picture of Look a Pig.
Look a Pig's ideas are all terrible.
Showing the last one, okay? It did not get demonetized. And that was on that one from beginning to end.
Alright.
I fucking hate push to talk.
That's alright. I don't care.
All right. So, anyone have anything to add to the topic?
U.S. educational system? Yeah, I mean, I did my master's here. So, I mean, I can't say much about your schooling, but I see advantages and disadvantages for both. Like the insane focus on the local level, I think that is the root cause of your issue. Like, you can give specialized local education, or local councils can push their agenda, if you will, which has been the case with creationism most of the time. But if you have a state or national level standard, that is very hard to do.
Well, education has been a failure in terms of actually educating people, but it's made incredible corporate slaves. So
Oh hell
it's been
yeah!
smashing success.
No, dude, you haven't. I mean, you haven't seen educational systems of Asian or Southeast Asian countries.
Oh,
I
those
would-
are terrible, dude. Those
I
are
would-
like picking the best students from the lot and then letting them go on, and then the other ones they just get the shitty menial jobs.
No.
Also, up here in Canada, they become a propaganda machine. A lot of.
I mean, you'd think so, right?
education
Like-
up here.
Well, if you look at the
See, you'd
history
think
of
so,
like,
right?
the Prussian education system, it's about basically creating obedient slaves to the state, and that's what we have in America.
No. So I will give you guys a small difference. So in the US, most of the creationism and creationist crowd, you would think they are people who do not have that much education, or you'd say they are, say, like they are not highly educated or they have no training in science, things like that, right? But there is a phenomenon going on in other countries. For example, if you take India, we do have a right movement, like I wouldn't call it far right, but we do have a right movement, like where everything is about, this is in the holy books, this is in our holy text, we knew all this. So, for example, atomic science is in the Vedas. Uh, uh, Indian medicine is superior to Western medicine, so on and so forth. And the people who peddle that shit are people who are well educated, are holding moderate to high level paying jobs. So it's
They're
not the
incompetent
fault
or
of.
is educated.
It's not the fault of. I wouldn't say it's the fault of the education system itself. It's the. I would say we are failing to teach critical skills.
Well, that is a
Could it
failure of
be
your
people
educational
just
system.
wanting to push agendas? Because
Yeah.
that's what I'm seeing from a lot of countries. Like, it's in one country it's very leftist, in another country it's very rightist, or very religious or whatever. And that's what I'm seeing is it's like, education should be neutral. It should be what is provable, what is hard to argue, and then let the kids grow up, give them a little bit of critical thinking teaching, and then let them make up their own minds, even if they do decide that the Earth is flat.
You see, that's the thing. That's what a lot of educational systems are doing. That I would do different with my children personally. They're trying to teach children what to think, not how to think.
See, that is another problem, because the first things kids do learn are from their parents. You can teach education, critical thinking skills and everything from the schooling. However lower grade you want to start, doesn't matter. You can teach them basics of philosophy, you can teach them epistemology, you can teach them critical thinking and everything. But if they are trained to, adhere to dogma, then that is an entirely different issue, which is most of the case with creationists or flat earthers, so on and so forth, like vaccine anti-vaxxers, homeopathic, naturopathic, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I understand that. I was that one kid who always stood up in science class and interrupted the teacher, like I might have interrupted you just now.
That's fine. Go on.
No, I didn't mean to.
No, that's fine.
That's all I had to add.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter how much focus you want to put in critical thinking, or how much effort or money you pump into it. It has to come. We still haven't figured out a way to override, dogma and faith, especially well. That is the core of this issue.
It's up to the individual, really.
The big problem is a lot of religious people feel that they're on the side of morality, and so any attack from their view to remove that to them just looks like you're trying to prevent your kids from being good, and that's the way they see it. I know a few people who are creationists and stuff like that, and when I listen to them how they talk about stuff, that's what they see. They see it as if you're trying to make the kids sinful or evil or whatever, and that's the big problem, is that
the lack of morality
we need. Yeah, that's the big thing we
they
need
need
to
they need to teach children morals, because look at the world, like people have no morals. It's pathetic.
Well, the thing is we're also getting
no. The thing is, see, that is the thing.
Everything. Oh, sorry, I was going to say I'm starting to notice that everybody's wanting every other agency to inflict their what they see as moral. We're seeing a lot of cries for authoritarian. You should regulate this. You should regulate that. You should have to teach this. You shouldn't. You should weed out these type of people. And that's what I'm just seeing up here. So, and in other countries. So, sorry to cut you off there.
No, that's fine. That will bring it with it the whole another set of issues, right? Because let's say if someone wants to enforce it, so it will be a slippery slope, right? That is why I kind of like the American system that a lot, because doesn't matter what it is. Like you don't have, for example, blasphemy laws, or he has offended my religious feelings, like in Britain, those kind of things. That pretty much extends to everything that is in the American system. So,
yeah,
education should be impartial, I agree, but we do not have a good method. Like, for example, if arguing about local versus central educational system, right? Depending on the country, central central rules of education is still bad. For example, Turkey outlawed the teaching of evolution. That is central. So you could make a case for both. That is the problem. There is no one fit all solution for this. This is an ongoing problem, and this will be an ongoing problem.
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah, exactly, that's very true.
Yeah, money and effort. This will be something that we'll be continuously competing against. And this is essentially we are fighting against human nature.
Yeah.
You're selecting. Yeah. You're training against millions of years of human evolution. That's just gonna happen.
Yeah. No, that's very true. In fact, actually, strangely enough, up here, we're getting hit by all sides. Like, I know there is one side, there's the creationists trying to push, to get evolution out, but it's not very strong up in Canada. But now we're getting attacked from strangely enough, from the other side, where they're saying I know they're coming from a good place, but the problem is what they're pushing will end up getting what the creationists want. And there's been attacks up here trying to say that biological sex isn't real. And I know it was started. That's what it popped up on a TV show once with an argument against somebody else, and then I keep hearing it every now and then. It's like biological. This argument that they're trying to say that they've known for years that biological sex isn't real.
What? That's like a step up from Texas and abstinence only. What the fuck?
Sounds like you're talking about gender, not biological.
Yeah, I think.
No, they literally said that one professor from a university who was arguing against another literally said that he can prove that biological sex isn't real, but he wouldn't go into it then now, and then there was that whole controversy with Peter Jorgensen, but then. And so that went away. That kind of went away, and then I started hearing, it's like, in recorded meetings here and there, that repeating of that statement that biological sex is not real.
Do you have a source?
Gender, yes, I can understand, but biological sex.
Do you have a source?
Yes, I do have a source. I just googled it, and there is a Washington Times article.
Biological sex is a figment of your imagination. What occurs is it's only sex. You making it.
He's by the way, he's an historian.
Oh, okay. So he's not a professional in this or anything.
No, he's not a biologist or anything. He is a historian.
It's other groups, other people picking it up and saying it. I've also noticed, this is a lesser point, but I've also, just to show that, a lot of groups are pushing for their agendas. I was helping somebody with her, tutoring her with math, and I was noticing a lot of pro-veganism propaganda within her textbooks.
In the math?
And I'm just
Pro-veganism?
within that.
Can you give us any quotes on the pro-veganism?
Oh, it was talking about it was all these formulas trying to show how how it is how it's super inefficient for us to raise meat, that pretty much that we should go with an optimum crop, something like yams or something like that, I think is what it was.
This is a part of Agenda 21.
I like steak.
I like steak
This is
too.
part of Agenda 21. In the future, you're not going to be allowed to eat meat according to Agenda 21. So, because you might as well enjoy it now.
Yeah. Like, I can understand looking for ways to produce meat that's more efficient, more more environmentally friendly.
I'm gonna say this.
I can go with that.
If gay people can have their meat together, why can't I have my meat?
Exactly.
Because you gotta save the planet, man.
Yeah, but I'm what if it's wolf meat? I'm saving a bunny somewhere.
You can just be gay.
I want to see these vegans come to
urban.
Australia and tell the fucking Australian cattle producers and the Texan cattle producers that you can't sell your beef anymore. Good fucking luck, vegans. You're all going to need it. Bring guns. Fucking lots of them. Good fucking luck. Bring a billion-dollar industry. Billions of dollars each year in that industry just from Australia. Not going to happen.
I want to
see part of the agenda.
The agenda. Whose agenda? Not mine.
Agenda 21. You should look into it because it tells us what the future is going to be like. There'll be no public transportation either.
Okay.
No transportation.
Private transportation. We'll only be allowed public transportation. That's in there.
Oh, so the buses, they don't put out fumes.
But that's just
21.
an example of how they push
people who
propaganda,
rule you put that together.
Working caves of steel.
Actually, wait.
Tell me they think we're all going to get to work on zip lines.
That's stupid. But quick question.
It's not stupid. You're stupid.
Yes, I am. But, I have a quick question about veganism. I mean, like, technically, yeah, animals want to live, right?
But I want to live.
Nutritional value that we get from the meat, right? Right. Okay, let's just accept that. Let's take it at face value. I have a question regarding eating meat. If we had a substitute that had essentially the same nutritional value as meat, kind of looked exactly like it and tasted exactly the same, and you couldn't tell the difference, would you take that over beef?
How is it created?
No. It's a hypothetical.
Yeah, but included in the hypothetical, how is this product created?
Let's say an efficient way and in a very safe way.
I mean, would you take? I mean, let's make it simple. Let's make it simple. No. Let's make it simple. Would you take lab-grown meat that tastes and has the same texture and everything over, for example, a slaughtered cow or a slaughtered chicken?
Okay, honestly, I would take the meat in that case, just because we wouldn't be over farming at that point. Really, it'd just be fucking lab-grown meat, to my knowledge.
Yeah. The only thing I'd have a concern with is there's a lot of our farm animals, except for pigs, are farm dependent. I mean, as I said, just for space and land. That's my only concern. But other than that, sure, I'll eat it. I'll eat it as long as it's identical. I don't care where it comes from.
Yeah, right now a cow could not go downstairs. Honestly,
Back in the day, the peasants they couldn't afford meat. It was a privilege for the kings, and they want to go back to that system, and they're just going to brainwash people to be vegan and to accept all this shit. Because they want to eat a shitty diet.
For another day.
Can I push back on some education?
It's Agenda 21. Just read
go ahead and push back if you want. Go ahead, do it.
GCS shit.
What?
Yeah, sure. Come on, man.
Sorry, one sec. This is stupid. Okay.
Well, I was gonna say I brought that up. I didn't want to go into veganism, but I was just saying, I'm seeing more and more groups getting pushed into our Canadian education system. And my question is, maybe you can argue these are not as harmful, but not superly harmful. Like, I mean, they might not be great, but they're not superly harmful. But what's the next group to inject in? You know, are we gonna get pro communism?
Yeah, that's a great example.
Right.
That's a great example of propaganda in public education. Like they're using in a math question, they're trying to push a vegan agenda. That's insane.
No, see, I mean, the teacher setting a vegan example in a math class, that doesn't matter, right? Like, unless, again, going back to the original discussion of creationism, it is pretty much boiling down to propaganda versus critical thinking, right? So, there are going to be a section. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say I wanted to push back on your point that you can't teach critical thinking.
No, you can.
There are,
That was not the point I was trying to make. You can teach critical thinking, but whether the person actually takes it up or rejects it whole outright is up to the person.
No, specifically, you said that you can't teach like critical thinking at the younger ages. So the thing is, Socratic method, getting them to tell you what they think, and going from there, it goes. No, I don't have wheels in my background set work. It's just I'm on the bus.
The bus, that explains it a good bit.
So you can teach critical thinking through Socratic method from as early on as like 5 years old. You just have to be asking questions and making it clear that you value their opinion.
There are also there's also levels of critical thinking. You can you don't have to cram it all into one bit. Like there are basic critical thinkings that you can teach at a younger age, and then at the high school level you can teach higher levels of critical thinking. And,
I was going to say, just let me finish. I was going to say, philosophy can be taught as early as 9 years old. So in the U.S., that's 3rd grade. Like, so if you just start from 3rd grade of teaching general metaphysics, of understanding, like, hey, here's all of these different ways in which you can think about things, which we don't have evidence for, and make that distinct from science, which is an objective or an empirical realm of metaphysics, making the assumption that we can determine things from evidence, from observation, and then go from there. I think the real problem is that there's a dogma in the methods of teaching that ends up holding back a lot. So like you have the school system insisting still today that even with the technology that we have, that you can't have video lectures for even for kids. You can't let them do it self-paced, despite research showing that self-paced mastery first methods work the best.
I use from Academy.
And then you have what was it? And these lectures that you can't put on video. I mean, it's basically like these teachers expected to be like Broadway performers, like just do a great job the first time and be so important we have to be live there to see them do it.
And you want to give them guns?
No.
Yeah,
no, I would.
No.
Hell no.
There's no reason to even herd all of our children into one location. Like it's hardly even necessary for most of the tasks that are given to them. The whole thing about asking questions back and forth, we got social media for that now. People are putting Facebooks installed into college systems, and the teachers just aren't using it.
There was a service, I can't remember what it was called, but when my sister and my niece had to come up here for my grandma's funeral, she had to do some of her courses online. So, you know, I mean, you're right. You're absolutely right. We should be augmenting, you know, a lot of this stuff with variability access, you know, where you can access it as, you know, as needed.
Yeah, my entire last year of schooling was computerized.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I had this laptop that they gave me that I would take around from class to class, plug it in, set it up, and then do my lessons on that, and then print off the little sheet, give that to the teacher, and I was done.
Lucky.
Yeah, I was lucky. I I guess they thought I was autistic or some shit because they treated me really nice.
Well, you know, the thing is, I discovered this from they used to have a method where you did self-paced mastery first with if you're an at-risk kid, and they used packets when there wasn't the technology to do better. So you like fill out the packet as you go, and then you take a test for each section. And basically, I was in that because I got caught with a tiny fishing knife that my dad had given me, and the zero tolerance bullshit here in the U.S. means that I was expelled from school and had to repeat the 7th grade. I fucking did it in 3 months.
Wow, impressed.
Yeah, they my entire last year schooling, I mentioned I had the laptop and that helped a bit, but I was in a credit deficiency program and we had to fit a year's worth of lessons into 3 months just so that we could get all of the credits that we needed because we were so lacking in credits. You know what I mean?
I never went to school, so I had to do my GED myself. I did it in less than a year.
Yeah, well, these things are possible. They're incredibly possible. I saw an entire class of, quite frankly, negligent Hispanic students who just wanted to be gangsters their whole life. I saw them all excel. Not one of my, no one in any of my classes failed that semester ever, and that was a whole year's worth of work and testing in 3 months.
Did at least some of those people who wanted to be gangsters at least go on to legitimate, or did they go into the gangster?
So, with my first day of college, I walked in and I saw like some of the tables. I saw at least like half of one of my classes there, so I can tell you that a good chunk of them went on to actual classes and stuff at a college.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
That's
and a few of them
at
are
least that
gangsters
proves-
now.
Yeah, at least that well, even though it's anecdotal, at least that's a level of evidence that, you know, as I said, you educate people and you can improve the situation around. I have this weird belief that it's like when it comes right up to the end of what the equivalent of high school is here, is where it should be a quality of outcome. Like you should get all students up to a certain level. And then when you flip into the higher education, that it goes the other way around, where then it's like a competition to, you know, push the limits of your ability to know things. Weird as that sounds.
Isn't that kind of how it is?
Kind of, but I've noticed a push. I've noticed a push to shift it to the other way around. I notice a lot of people that I indirectly and directly know complaining about stuff like this, saying that specific groups are, you know, are you getting extra time on tests, or not even required to take some tests. And here they are, they're working their butt off. They have to hand in almost twice as many assignments as they do, and they're getting similar grades. And I'm just like, what? I mean, I have no problem with giving anybody the ability to try and compete for a slot in a program. But I mean, it's just education is just getting messed up everywhere.
I mean, that is that is another force of. I mean, that is another phase of the problem, though. Like, yes, we know these things have better results, but the problem is, how do you implement it for a whole population? Like, even educational experts who agree with you, and the scientists who agree with you, they will still have troubles doing it for an entire country, or at least an entire state. Like, for example, if you're going to give every kid in Texas digital schooling, then you got to have everything. I mean, you got to rebuild your entire education infrastructure, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
Khan Academy and those guys are making the first steps on it, but again, they still have real problems. Like, right? Like, for example, we have. Yeah, go on.
I asked my professor yesterday, just from her perspective, if she wanted to fight back against the asses in seats rule that the CSU system seems to be so obsessed with, and wanted to set up her class so that no students ever had to attend lecture because it just didn't seem necessary. What would the pushback be like? And she said, well, I think they just let me do it. Like, why the hell aren't more professors doing it? It's less work for them, and it's more efficient for the students. Then I have to see a fucking Broadway performance every fucking day or every other day with each of these teachers. Even the fact that they make us do like an hour of every one of our classes from high school to grad school, an hour of each in a given day. Just that right there, we know from the whole what is it, the oh shit, when you have like every person in a factory like doing one job versus one person doing every job, like we know that it's more efficient to focus on like one thing at a time instead of having like try to fulfill a little bit at a time of different of each different task, and then trying to combine them all at once in order.
If I followed that correctly.
Like a production line, I forget what the term is. It's like it's been known for hundreds of years that it's more efficient to do one thing at a time.
Well, the thing I would like to see the education system going is like, because there are some professors that put their lectures online, and I love it because I watch some of them. I don't watch all of them, but I watch the ones that interest me. And I've dipped in from everything from philosophy to physics, even though that burns my mind out after a while. All sorts of things, and I think it's great that they do that, and I think that should be the standard. And then what I think universities and stuff should be, or whatever, is like where you come to prove that you've absorbed the knowledge. So then that way, have these lectures online so that the teachers don't, so that the professors don't have to repeat them every semester. That they're available online, and then you can have the colleges or universities, like up here we call them universities. You have them where it's like the people can come in, and then they can get the in-between work, the solving work. Like I'm having a problem grasping this concept, or I'm having a problem figuring out why this equation works. Type more like sessions where it's a back and forth help, so that those that need the help, and then you have the sessions where those who are wanting the degree can come in, take the tests, and then if they pass, regardless of who they are, boom, you got the degree, or you got that class credit or whatever it is, But there's been up in Canada, there's been such a push for non-failure. Like my sister got really mad in Ontario when they told, because my niece was acting up a little bit and she was basically refusing to learn, and they didn't want to fail her, and my sister was just irate about that, because it's like they don't care, and they just want to get them through and give them their certificate whether they've earned it or not. And I'm seeing that. I'm hearing from a lot of people saying that's happening in the universities they attend. That there's a lot of push towards that, and that bothers me too.
It bothers me now that you're mentioning it, because all that leads to is students who never had to work for jack shit, and then they get out into the real world, and then it can just crash on them, They
yeah.
I saw a video where this girl, she'd gotten pulled over and she hadn't paid off her she had gotten bailed out of prison. She didn't pay the bail bondsman, right? She wasn't paying her bonds, right? And
I saw that.
and it was weird. I was seeing this 18, 19, maybe 21-year-old girl act like a fucking toddler who didn't want to take a bath. She was like,
I need my cat.
I need my daddy. And then she was just like, she was making her legs go limp. She was going on the ground crying that she wanted her fucking cat. It was pathetic. And then we get these completely and totally dependent adults out there, and it's just not going to be good for society because they're not going to be able to work.
No. There's a YouTuber who was just railing against this one engineering professor, who's basically arguing, that rigor is harmful to the students for engineering. Like, I don't know if anybody's in engineering.
Wait.
I don't know much about engineering, but I've known a few people who were in engineering or who are engineers themselves. And I've heard them talk about their lectures, about their lessons and all their courses, and how much work they had to do. And here she is going around trying to make arguments that rigor it shouldn't be important for engineering. And I'm like going, I do not want to live or walk in a building, plane, or bridge she designs.
Yeah, like, do you want to hear that this bridge you're crossing right now was not rigorously designed?
Pretty much.
Yeah, no thanks. Let's keep the rigor with ears.
I mean, that is also the thing with like the new fields, right? Crap. I forgot. Yeah, King Crocodile is doing the series on things, right? I think is science a social construct, so on and so forth. Like taking out the scientific. Yeah, science wars. Yeah, thank you. Taking out the rigor from those fields will just, I mean, that's just not gonna work. Again, I mean, I hate to link it back to our initial discussion, but everything goes back to that, right? Like you pushing your own point of view and you pushing your own agenda. That is becoming, I mean, that is at the root of all this, right?
Yeah, it is. No, and there's nothing wrong with linking back. In fact, I like when we can link things back, because it's all the same thing. It doesn't matter whether social justice warrior, creationist, earther, whatever, a group supporter who's supporting,
Dude, your mic.
Whatever,
Your mic is broken, man.
Hey, you sound like Optimus Prime.
No, he sounds like Bumblebee.
You do. You sound like Bumblebee with no testicles.
Okay, does this sound better?
Yeah, that's a lot better.
Yeah, that's better.
Keep going on your point.
Okay. Oh, now I can't remember. Oh yeah, I was gonna say the groups. It's all the same thing. It doesn't matter the group. Whether well, I should have included a political group. Whether it's a Marxist group, whether it's a creationist, whether it's an SAW, whether it's whatever. These extremist groups. They're all pushing an agenda, and education should be neutral. Education should be available to anyone who can prove themselves viable. And I have, and in fact, I'm extremely supportive. Let's say, okay, you're lacking women in a certain field. We'll rather than force them in, make it appealing. Like help it become appealing to them. Show them young age. If they don't choose it, they don't choose it. But I mean, don't change the courses for just so that they can be slammed through and stamped with approval, or have them inject something that is factually inaccurate, like saying that the Earth is flat, or there's no such thing as biological sex, or the world's on the back of a turtle, whatever. I mean, it is everything that's in education should be stuff that is like that can be proven, that can be solidly proven, and then it should just simply be available to anyone who wants to take it, and not forced on, and not privileged to anyone. Doesn't matter, even if it was like to white groups or whatever. It shouldn't be privileged to anyone. It should just be available to those who can prove that they get through it. As I said, I have the belief that like anything below high school, we should do our best to try and get everybody at the same level. But then after that, education should be, it's like you should have to work with it. If you want to be If you want to be an engineer, you should meet the engineer. If you want to be a nurse, you should meet all the requirements that should be a nurse. You know, I mean, you shouldn't get passed through just because you're male, and because they need more male nurses. You know, I don't know.
I think Bertrand Russell said something interesting about education in his book, The Scientific Outlook, 1931. Scientific rulers will provide one kind of education for ordinary men and women, and another for those who are to become holders of scientific power. Ordinary men and women will be expected to be docile, industrious, punctual, thoughtless, and contented. Of these qualities, I think are considered the most important. In order to produce it, all the researchers of psychoanalysis, behavioralism, and biochemistry will be brought into play. So, I mean, I think perspective, like, education has been very successful in producing docile, industrial, punctual, thoughtless, and contented people to work in the factories. And now we're in a service industry economy, so we'll be seeing some sort of educational reform coming up here pretty soon.
I'm not content.
Didn't work on you.
I
Need
think
more marijuana or alcohol or something?
No.
I think another factor that might be a problem is humans are slow to change. Like, you know, I mean, we like, if you look at like, let's look at another section just so I can prove my point. Like, if you look at the business sector, you know, I mean, new companies start up and they're all the rage and whatever. And a lot of times, you know, or if it's not quite a new company, but a new thing burns up that overtakes another company, you get companies that complain, and you get companies that are resistant. You get people generally are resistant to change, and they don't look ahead to see, you know, what the changing environment is. And I think this extends into the education system. The education system isn't looking ahead, isn't going, okay, how is the marketplace where we're sending our graduates out to, you know, changing, you know, because as I said, the two are very highly connected, because as I said, somebody pointed out that, you know, the marketplace is changing. It was like in that quote you put, it's like back, you know, 50, 100, 200 years ago, you know, most of the jobs were just in, you know, generic labor, and so then you got those two kinds of education, which, you know, today sounds wrong to us, and probably back then, you know, didn't sound as wrong. But, you know, and I think that's another problem with our education system, is they're not thinking to see where things are going. You know what we're going to need to educate our kids in, because as I said, the landscape is changing. Robots and AIs are going to start taking over more and more fields that everybody thinks is never going to be taken over. And you know what, like, none of in this education is so caught up into these politics, they're not realizing that, hey, you know, we need to teach kids stuff. Like, I mean, I'm just hearing from groups of my friends that are actually pretty young, just coming out of high school, through the games I play. They're telling me that the things that they're just now starting to teach them. I'm like, they're just now starting to teach programming. They're now just starting to teach this. They're now starting to teach that. Man, I would have loved to have that when I was like in when I was in school. Man, that would have just been perfect for when I got out of the education system. But as I said, I'm seeing, yeah.
Well, then they should start teaching educational astronomy.
No, I mean, like, I want to respond to his point there. I kind of agree. Probably the school systems is slow to change, but when you enter college, you definitely see the difference there. They are very in touch with the real world and the field that they are actually teaching you in. That is something I have experienced firsthand. So the system and the structure, yeah, that is a bit outdated in my opinion, but they are still teaching you the relevant skills that are needed for the field. maybe you'll have to go for a master's rather than a bachelor's. But then again, I think the change has to come from the high school, middle school level itself, if you are gonna go with that route.
Yeah, and they have to stop focusing on this other stuff. I mean, as I said, I think that's what I was trying to get at, is that they're too busy focusing on these, these skills goals, trying to either appeal to, and it varies from country to country. Sometimes they're just trying to appeal to religion, like in Turkey. Here they're trying to appeal to the opposite side. I mean, it's like, they don't. I think I think, even though they think they're thinking of they think they are thinking of the kids, I don't think they really are. I mean, I think they're just, I don't know.
They're not thinking of the kids. They're thinking of the parents, and they're thinking of the money.
I mean, no, you can't say that out and out. The problem is,
in America, at least.
Yeah, but again, the problem is, I mean, you can see it. Can I go political, somewhat?
Yeah, go ahead. This is schools. It might as well be political.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for example, in the Parkland shooting, you see people responding to 17 and potentially 18-year-olds like, "You are kids, just shut up. You don't know anything." I mean, that is the mindset of a lot of adults. So the problem is, again, going back to the issue, the school board and everybody, the educational board, they are all elected representatives rather than experts in the field. So they will definitely be pushing their agenda. So when you make something like the educational system, or the people who make the root cause as a popularity contest, which is frankly what election is, you are gonna get only the popular views in there.
Yeah. True.
By the way, when I said to parents, I forgot to include the public, just in general.
True.
True.
A lot of I hate to say companies go for pleasing the public.
I mean, you can't blame the companies for doing that. Doesn't matter
Yeah,
if the error is on you.
Well,
you don't want
yes
any
and no.
negative.
but at the expense of their workers and at the expense of the people they're affecting.
Yeah, but for them, again, going back to the point, I mean, you are speaking about a company, right?
Teachers are massively underpaid, and students are horribly taught. Honestly, I mean, I was never even taught, or they never even tried to teach me critical thinking. I had to discover that shit on my own on YouTube, and then get curious, and then apply it to my own God to figure shit out.
Yeah, that is the same thing. I think I mean, for example, if you take a look at the straight epistemology practitioners, that would be the case with most people.
I think
most people aren't even aware of their. Yeah, go ahead, Seth.
I was gonna say, I think we can actually blame this, strangely enough, on the religious, like, because this, especially in the States, like from what I've got, from what little I've been able to get, is this is actually an effect from something that started long ago. Like the religious hated the neutral text that was being pushed down in the States, especially after the world wars, when the desire for increasing technology came out, and the drop of pushing religious texts, like things like the Bible. I think that's where and I think that's probably even echoing in other countries too today, and it's the same thing, and it's going to end up with the same outcome. It's like when you have that push to defund, when you have that push to shift towards homeschooling and stuff like that, that's what the Americans are suffering, and it leaves the education system vulnerable to a variety of effects. If no one comes in to help them, then they're just underfunded. The qualities go down, and the people and the test requirements eventually start going down, because I mean, they don't want to they're being told to, they get told that they need to get their students passing more, so then they just make the test easier so the test students pass. And I guess I'm rambling on too much here, so I'm going to just quickly end it and say, yeah, I think I think we can blame a lot of the problems on the extreme religious right, not the reasonable religious.
That's
people,
insane.
I mean, no, I wouldn't agree to that.
I
mean,
would
for
I would put a
example-
lot onto the parents here in America because, like, and I hate to interrupt you, GCS.
Blame
but,
UNESCO.
No, go ahead.
Blame
But
UNESCO.
a majority of parents in America don't want to see their child fail. That's just not a natural want that a parent would ever want to have, and a lot of them let that get between their judgment and the schools.
No, I mean,
You
even
just have a bias against like Christians or something.
I mean,
Well,
I don't
no,
like Christians
I-
any more than
I'm-
the next guy, but shit.
Hey, I know a few Christians I just utterly love, but I've had one or two
Doesn't mean you
friends
can't be
that,
biased against them.
Well,
Because if you were
I'm
looking
more
at
biased
this
against
with
the
an open
actions.
mind, you would be blaming UNESCO instead of Christians.
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, it does. Well, I pointed out in different countries it plays out through different groups. It's not the group that matters. It's what they did. I mean, it's like when you hear about these mass shootings, it's not the gender that's responsible. It's the crazy person who went and did the shooting.
Yeah.
You can also blame maybe some of the circumstances the person was in, depending on which event you pick. Maybe he was a little crazy and wasn't getting the proper medical care. You can blame that.
Yeah, maybe if they were allowed to
but as
teach
I
them
said,
about Jesus,
yeah.
they would have shot up a school too. You could say that.
You can say anything.
Yeah, you can just
Yeah.
say a bunch of crap.
Yeah, but again,
the thing is it wasn't that what they were. It was the fight against the education system. It was the fight against the education system that did this. It could have been any group. In fact, it is actually other groups too that are doing it that aren't Christian themselves, that want schools that aren't adopting these ideologies to be defunded. And I've seen when I was looking through throughout history, various political things, various cuts to education in certain areas, by certain politicians because they had a certain belief or certain certain agenda or whatever, like it's even happened with a more modern one that has like done a lot of fought for defunding is those who don't believe in climate change. Now, I'm not going into an argument of whether climate change is true or not. I'm just saying that group has wanted to also defund schools that don't teach that climate change is a fable. And so, as I said, it's these actions. It's just I'm just saying the first group that really started doing it were these extremists who wanted the schools to be religious in a specific way. And don't forget that even though I'm saying that it was a Christian group, it's actually a specific Christian group that probably would have attacked another Christian group. Like those that were like, say like Anglican or United. They would have been much against those groups that were like those people. So as I said, I'm not trying to attack all Christians. I'm just attacking a specific group, and not so much the group itself, but the action they did, the thing that they decided to do when they fought to defund, to reduce education funding. And I think it was just it may have seemed small at the time, but I think as it built up, and then as other groups said, it's like, oh, I don't like the schools that are teaching this, because we know climate change is just a fictional thing, and so you get the defunding from there, and because oil companies love denial of climate change, they of course throw the money at that, yeah. And as I said, it's not really the group itself, it's what the group did.
So you got The idea that oil companies are against climate change because you believe that propaganda. That's not actually true. Oil companies are behind climate change.
Aren't. Yeah, some are, some aren't. You know, it just depends on who. But I'm just saying, there are some oil companies.
It doesn't matter if it's true. Just like you know, climate change isn't true. It doesn't matter. Whatever.
I'm not. I'll go.
Just say things.
Where the fuck did you go? Your mic just sort of stopped.
Yeah, disappeared.
Just like you just vanished into the void immediately. Did you lose power to your mic?
It's such pseudoscience. Like.
By the way, I mean, I just want to touch on the point that he made about being underfunded and teachers being not paid enough. I mean, let's not. I mean, you can compare it in the states itself. Doesn't matter the state. Yes, usually red states are very underfunded, but if you compare it to even very liberal states, then the situation is not much different. You know.
It also depends on the type and just the general.
Yeah. The
school.
the problem is more with the public perspective itself. Like you don't see the emphasis on public education being as important compared to many other countries. So again, going back to the problem, I mean, yes, the certain groups, certain extreme groups are behind the issue, but you can't blame them, or you can't lay the entire blame on them. I don't think we have enough data or enough evidence to support that claim.
There's so many aspects to this issue. We can't just throw the blame on one thing. I mean, we can talk about one thing at a time, but
yeah, for equal purposes, I would even push to say
your mic is just losing its mind, dude. Yeah, it's like you're cutting out extremely fast and then like cutting back in extremely fast. Rapid fire cutting out.
I like.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys were breaking up really weird. I don't know what caused that, but oh well.
I think it's probably your connection, man. Might be sure.
Yeah. Actually, no. I think it's one of my devices. So.
Anyways, what were you saying?
I can't remember. I just said it's not. As I said, I know it sounds like I'm just attacking Christians, but I'm not. As I said, I'm just trying to attack, saying that a small group, and as I said, it can even be as small as 2 people. You know, but the fact that, and as I said, I know creationists who literally, you know, like I know not all creationists are like this, but I know a couple creationists. Oh no, sorry, I know one really well who said he actively supports candidates that want to defund the education system.
Didn't the
and I've heard others echo this.
Didn't the governor of Texas run for president on the promise that he would defund all state-funded schooling?
What do you think education is doing that's so beneficial to society?
Nothing. Really? If you look at the American system, fuck.
That's true.
That's what I'm saying, man. When I got to college my freshman year, I just dropped out because it wasn't any different than high school.
Dude, same. But none of my teachers have ever challenged me to get a project done, and then when I went into college, and my professor just didn't give a fucking shit. It was a totally different feel to that kind of classroom, you know?
I was excited. I was like, wow, college, I'm paying money. Am I actually going to learn shit? And then I'm like, wait, this is just high school, but I have more responsibility. Fuck this.
Yeah, I have a dorm and I can get drunk.
And it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way.
I feel like I learned more playing competitive chess because I had to, like, think for myself and, you know, promoted me to think critically. Or like I didn't learn fucking how to use my brain in school at all.
I'm gonna say this, and this was mostly me learning at home, just looking shit up on the internet. probably because I was trying to debunk claims. But I've learned more. I've learned more in 2 years as an atheist than I learned in 17 years as a Christian. And that's nothing necessarily against Christianity. It's more like now that I'm an atheist, I'm going out and now that I have this prerogative to fact check sources and stuff like that, I'm learning more as I go along, you know. And it's because my school didn't make me do this shit.
And pretty much just like repeat what we tell you on the test. If you can memorize, you pass. Like, what the fuck is that?
I mean, honestly, Mr. Gallegos, he never made us do hardly any work. I had a substitute in his class one day, and that substitute quit the next day.
Oh, really?
Oh, dude, you should have seen. I had that laptop, right, and I could use YouTube on it, but it couldn't be like at all like a. It had to be basically children's programming or learning sources, right? Like it had to be educational or a children's thing. And I'm sitting there in English class, and keep in mind my English teacher, she's like 80 and like a really nice old lady that'd bake you a cookie. And she walks behind me as I'm watching Happy Tree Friends, because that's a children's cartoon, classified as one. Just in the middle of class, just watching Happy Tree Friends on my computer. And she freaked the fuck out.
My high school social studies teacher is like miles above that. Like, I mean, he was really frustrated with me. I had him for grade 10 and 11, and he was really frustrated with me because I had a writing disability. I am a slow writer and a chronic bad speller.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how many times I've spelled the word. Yeah, well, I won't get into that. But I was so involved with the class. Like, he actually really challenged us. I remember when it came up to elections within Canada one time, and he really got involved with it, you know, getting us to all look at the different points of views from the different parties. And that was beautiful stuff. That was, you know, that just made you think that you had to think about other. I even liked how he did the reenactment of like he let us form our own World War I scenario, and bizarrely enough, we actually almost mirrored the real World War and World War I in the alliances and everything that we formed. But you know, I mean, it's like that's what should be taught in schools. You know, that level of interactivity, the level of experience, the level to think, you know. And I always felt bad that I couldn't write any faster because he would always have these essay questions where he'd get us to not only pick a point of view, but explain why we picked that point of view. And it's always so frustrating.
There are good teachers out there, but it's just like the overall system and curriculum is not good.
My senior year, like that English teacher I mentioned, that like old grandma, she was an amazing teacher. My economics teacher, he was an amazing teacher, although you never wanted to use the bathroom after him because he's an old man, and old man shit stinks horribly. I'm not kidding. They had a radio signal, like the teachers. Whenever he'd go to the bathroom, you'd hear a radio signal. I don't remember what the code was, but they had a code for whenever he's using the bathroom, and no one would go after that. The students picked up pretty fast too. My math teacher, first of all, she was hot. Her and her sister both blondes. They're both incredibly into sports for math teachers, and they're both like barely in their 30s. I bet they were hot, but they both challenged me on a mathematical level.
Oh, that was awesome.
My physics teacher was the high school football coach, and he like he made like every test super easy. Like we basically had a cheat sheet with all the equations, and then we just had to plug in the numbers and do the math.
Our like when the first physics course we took, because like we only where I am, at the time we actually think we still have it. We only have 2 levels of education. There's elementary and high school, and so high school starts at grade 9, and grade 9 our science was a science sampler. It was it was so many weeks in biology, so many weeks in physics, and so many weeks in chemistry. Well, we had the our chemistry teacher for that was strangely enough was also one of the sports coach teachers too, and he let us produce helium for our science class. Told everybody, I don't want to see a single lighter out.
I think this like physics teacher, football coach, he intentionally made his class super easy, and then told all of his students or his football players to be in his class so they could get a good grade or some shit.
Yeah. Speaking of irresponsible students with all them lighters and shit, I was my last year we had this like I don't fucking know what it was. It's like a guys thing. They got like a certain group of just like male students, and they'd get together with this dude, and they would just do guy shit. Just in the classroom doing fun guy shit, and they would learn through that shit, right? And I was part of that, and it wasn't like boring. It was actually pretty interesting. But at some point, like the instructor looked away, and one of the students reached into his pocket, pulled out a switchblade, and cut something, and then put it back.
Whoa!
And I never would have known that fucker had that shit in his fucking gym shorts. Like, what the fuck? We need to get metal detectors. That would help 90% of the time. Like, dude comes in to shoot up the school.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then
how the
again,
fuck are
you
we gonna pay
have...
for that? Sorry.
So,
yeah.
Since you brought up the gun thing, I don't know if really gun regulation would actually be applicable down the States anymore, considering the current setup. But the fact that Canada started off with decent gun regulations, at least we haven't had too many have to worry about too many gun shootings up here. I mean,
We had a shooting at my local library, dude.
Wow.
This year? Holy fuck.
If someone could please tell me what I missed in chat, that'd be great. Thank you.
How do we sum that up?
You don't have to worry about shootings here. You just have to conceal carry. Problem solved.
Yeah. Arm the teachers and don't put metal detectors on every fucking door and window. Okay, not windows. That's a little obscene.
Time while they're not educating people in school, and teach them maybe how to use firearms. And
I'm just saying,
all the students could have firearms.
It'd be a bit of a bitch to have like a little like airport grade security guard just standing there at the metal detector to search backpacks when it goes off. But I'm saying it would help. It would certainly help.
I think we arm and train everyone. We
that's it. That's where it comes in. You mentioned like armed guards on the school, right? Just have them there at the metal detectors.
Arm and train
with a gun.
The entire population should be armed and trained. So
we
like,
need to become the Klingons.
Well, dude, these people are hitting soft targets. They're going to places where you're not allowed to have guns. Like
everyone must be Batman.
Show me a shooting where people have guns and the guy gets taken out, and then the media won't report on, like, they won't tell a positive gun story because the media just has to put this spin on it that every gun story is negative. Every fucking one.
Yeah, but on a serious note, I really believe that those. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to just interject there. I don't think that is right, because you do see these positive stories being reported, but again, even in the case...
They're reported, but they're buried. They're totally buried, and then all the negative ones are highlighted.
Yeah, they're just all buried.
Kind of right yeah, but again, you gotta compare the event. You gotta compare the events, man. For example, crap, I forgot which shooting it was. There was, again, going with there was another guy concealed carrying, but he couldn't do anything still. The problem is, I mean, most probable.
But at least he has a chance. At least he has a chance. Have you ever heard that story about the woman in Texas who they had just passed a law in Texas that you weren't allowed to take your gun into like a restaurant. You had to leave it in your car for the concealed carry. So she would have had a gun in the restaurant with her, but it was in her car because of this stupid law. And some crazy nut goes into the restaurant and starts shooting people.
Here's my biggest problem.
Her dad was a hero. Well, hold on. Her dad tries to confront this guy. Her dad gets shot, and her mom stays with her dad. Her mom gets shot, and she says, "Look, you know, if me, maybe I wouldn't have been able to save my parents, but at least I'd have a chance, you know." And what about people like that?
Yeah,
Like,
again.
you expect these people just to be
No,
defenseless and murdered. It's pathetic.
I'm not saying that. I mean, you're missing the point.
The problem is that gun control right now wouldn't stop the criminals, although it would make finding them easier in a way. Because you hear a gun go off and you're like, that shouldn't be happening.
Dude, that is the problem. Like,
but good people outnumber the criminals, so give good people guns.
Nah, man, train them to be samurai.
No, dude. Again,
man, we
again,
have these weak-ass people that are trained to be victims.
Anyways, what's up, GCS?
No, dude, you keep he keeps missing the point in my opinion. I mean, I'll elaborate what I mean by that. So, usually you will not expect someone to have an assault rifle, or for example, an AR-15 on them if they are concealed carrying it. Yes, they will have a chance. I agree with you. Yes, they will have a chance, but more often than not, when a guy is shooting up with an assault rifle,
but
doesn't matter what you try to confront him with. Yes, you might get a cut off, but
let's go back to the idea you mentioned of the restaurant, right? Okay, so you hear gunshots and perhaps you have a gun on you, right? You're not exactly necessarily trained. You know how to use a gun, but you're not like full on trained. You know what I mean? You're just like a normal person with a gun who wants to help. You hear gunshots. That's the extent of it. You get behind a table, and perhaps you see somebody running, and it looks like they're carrying a gun. And what if you shoot the wrong person?
I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, for example, you let's say there is another person hiding behind the table next to you. How do you know he is not the shooter? All you know is someone is shooting at the place.
Without
I think
training.
What's being said here.
Your mic's screwed.
Yeah.
If I can just quickly listen,
your mic.
I think the reality is that good people having good people and guns is a mixed bag. Yes, there are lots of situations where citizen and guns will be beneficial. There's also going to be a potential. Now you can argue how far it is to which side, but there is also going to be a percent of people when with good people who are with good intentions having guns ends up making this situation worse. And that's why I said when I started it, I said I don't know if gun control is really applicable in America anymore, but up in Canada it has worked to a degree. But but it has worked.
You should probably also fix your mic now that you're done. We tried to tell you twice, man. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
As it stands, one of my points is guns have been on American soil since America became independent. Really. So the criminals, for at least a decade after we initiate any sort of gun laws, like hardcore gun laws, criminals would be well armed, at least. For a decade. Multiple decades, possibly.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's why I said I don't know if it's applicable in the States.
So the answer isn't simple.
No,
it's not a more guns here or a less guns here. It's not like simple. We can't just say no guns or all the guns. It's a deep situation, really.
I think there's people in power that want to take our guns and that they're orchestrating these events to get publicity and media and propaganda against get people in support of taking our guns. I think that's what's going on.
Wait. Are you going to the false flag thing?
Okay, are you talking like from the point that they want to control us?
Just say crisis actors. Come on, please, just say it. Say crisis actors for the school. Come on, we want to hear you say it. Fucking say it. Come on.
So, are you trying to argue that they want to be able to take our guns away so that they can completely control us? Because I can guarantee you right now, I don't care how many rednecks you get with their double barrels and their fucking rifles and their AR off brands. You're not going to be able to hold off the American military.
This shooting in Florida could have easily been prevented. The guy was reported.
There was an armed guard at the school and he stayed outside during the whole shooting and he fucking did nothing. So there goes your theory about arming everyone. The guy was actually trained. He's not a school teacher that you're just going to shove the gun in their hand and go, good fucking luck. Like what you're talking about. You need seriously trained people with firearms before you send them in anywhere near a school.
Yeah, strong manning me.
That's fucking retarded. They're
At this point-
teachers. They're there to teach kids, not fucking shoot people. Fuck me.
The only way
It's
that
insane.
the only way
The
you'd
idea
really
is well
be able
thought
to
out
help
and sound.
teachers is to train them like you train police, but also train them to be
That was a
teachers, and that's
trained
just
deputy
insane.
that stayed outside for the whole fucking shooting and didn't do
But
a
my
goddamn
point,
fucking thing.
So what?
my point is,
So
we
what?
can't just arm the teachers, because what you'd be asking for is for us to train the teachers to use guns like a cop.
Yo, I mean,
Let's-
are you
what
really
you
gonna
have to
hand
do-
over?
Yeah, and who's
No,
gonna
no,
pay
no.
for
Imagine this. Yeah, and even more than that, imagine this. You want to give a 45-plus-year-old teacher a gun. Maybe,
He's
I mean, some
underpaid.
schools even have, and some schools even have 60-year-old teachers. Are you sure you want to give them a gun?
Fact
There
is,
is a gun, I
the
agree with
government knew about this Florida shooter, and they let him shoot up the school, so they were complicit.
What do you even mean by that? Did Trump know?
Nah,
Did the
there was a
Secretary of
post.
State- Did the Home Secretary know? Like, what do you mean by government?
There was a
What do you
post
mean by
on
complicit?
social media. Oh, I've got this. There was a post
FBI
on
is a
social
mouthful.
media he made about 12 months ago. The FBI were made aware of it. They did nothing. So he has got a point there. That's a legit claim. I know that for a
Inactivity,
fact.
what it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
what
you
is
even-
going on is it's the laziness, it's the inactivity. It's we get this information, and
Yeah,
to-
but the
to
problem
kind of
is,
the
again-
police to a degree is there's reasons why the problem is with our current climate, you know, as in social climate, has really pushed for the police to hold back on a lot of things. And so, you know, I mean, it's not a black and white answer to this, because, you know, you can't just lump it on just the police, because there's a lot of things going on that
I've heard
makes
people
it
in a video
so
game.
reserved.
I've heard people in a video game like jokingly threaten about shooting a school, and they don't even have a gun, and they get like arrested and
Yeah.
dealt with by the government, and then
Wanted
like,
sometimes.
And
then some
backfires.
people, or like the guy in Texas who shot up the church. Like the guy in Texas who shot up the church, he was supposed to be on a list of mentally like disabled or mentally unhealthy people that aren't allowed to get guns, but he slipped through the system, and they let him. They want people to shoot up
Yeah.
guns because it helps their agenda to take our guns.
No. Correct me if
No,
I'm wrong,
it's
but
just
he did get a
laziness.
gun legally, right? He did get a gun legally. The Texas shooter, he did get a gun legally. He got it
He
at a gun
wasn't.
show.
He was supposed to be on a list where he wasn't allowed to get.
Yeah, I
he
think that is
didn't
where
put
the
on-
gun show loophole comes in, right?
Yeah.
If you are getting it in a different
List.
state or at a gun show, you don't need to do an extensive
No,
background
it wasn't. It wasn't a loophole. He wasn't put on a list. He was supposed to be put on a list after he got dismissed from like the military or whatever, but he was never put on the list.
So that's not really a
They
conspiracy.
wanted
that's
him to
just
fucking
incompetence.
shoot up people in the church.
And that's the thing you got to remember is all these agencies are filled full of people. You know, they're fallible. You know, make mistakes, lazy, blind, biased people. You know, just like the rest of us. You know, I mean, no difference. And that one case where he was supposed to be, that's just laziness. That wasn't a conspiracy. That was just laziness. And that's what the thing is the current social climate we have. There's so many events that pull in so many directions. That's why I don't completely blame these people, because a lot of people are just people, and if they do things wrong, everybody's afraid of doing the wrong thing. And if you do things wrong, you get torn alive. The problem is nowadays it seems it doesn't matter what actions you do, you're in the wrong.
If this isn't a conspiracy, then why is the media complicit in this like biased reporting of gun?
I mean, if you ask me, that cop was a pussy.
Yeah.
Heard
Well,
the shots
media,
and run in.
Doesn't give two beeps about anything. They all they want is your view. Like a good example of this is like the Tide Pod challenge. You know, when
It's
I
kind of
started looking into
short-sighted
this-
to just think that all they care about is
Yeah.
money.
Well,
That's what they care about. They're in fucking business to make money. They go with what sells, mate. They go with fucking what gets views.
This
dude.
level, that's just like a basic way of looking at things. It's not very like deep thinking going on there.
Well, they're a fucking
that's the
media
thing,
company. That's
they're
their
not.
fucking job.
I mean,
Okay.
that's the whole thing I was saying is people just go the short route. It's not that they mean to be mean. It's just it's their job. It's their job. It's the way they train themselves to be. I mean, as I said, I'm not going to put all the blame on the officers who failed to do stuff, because they're rushed into the situation. They don't know everything that's going on. They they don't want to be blamed for shooting a student that wasn't involved. I mean, it's a mixed bag. It's not just one thing.
Right, that was a trained officer who's been through training. He was a deputy, and he didn't run into the building to engage because you know what he thought? That motherfucker's got an assault rifle in there, and he's shooting motherfuckers, and there's rounds going off everywhere, and I'll be fucked if I'm putting myself in the line of fire, because his natural instinct to survive kicked in. Now, that bloke was fucking trained. Asking a school teacher who's there to teach little Johnny fucking his A, B's and C's to carry a fucking gun and be expected to walk into the line of fire to take a shot at a perp with an assault rifle? That's not realistic. Go and ask school teachers, because every teacher I've seen posting on social media is going, it's not my job to fucking die for your kid. It's my job to educate your kid. It's fucking madness. The fact that it's even being considered and talked about is fucking... The rest of the world's going, what in the fuckity fuck? Fuck America. Please stop.
Yeah. I actually have to agree. I have to agree with that. I mean, it shouldn't be the teacher's job to do that.
Technically, I'll finish off my little rant. I'll just say one more thing. If you're going to put people with guns in schools, you want fucking people that have been trained, not just police. You want military grade training, and you want fucking people that have got a sound mind and keep their shit together. You don't want shell shocked vets standing around a school with jittery hands on a fucking gun. If you're going to go down this path of turning your schools into mini fucking forts and army bases, here's an idea. Why don't you just put all your schools on army bases?
There was a crazy guy on a train, subway in New York who was attacking people with a knife, and he attacked this random stranger, and two officers watched this fight go down, and they didn't intervene until the stranger had subdued the crazy man with the knife. These were trained officers with guns, and so the guys sued the officers because they just watched him get attacked and didn't help him. And the Supreme Court said that officers don't even have to help people out in that situation.
What the fuck?
It's not their job.
Yeah, that's a what the fuck moment.
So, I'm back on the topic of arming teachers. At most, and this is a fantasy I'm about to bring up, okay? A best case scenario at best, right? We could potentially, maybe arm the principal and have them highly trained. And then we'd have two safes somewhere in the front office. Only the principal and the police would know the code to these. And maybe somebody else in the office just for safety. And then whenever those safes are open, one of them has the ammo, one of them has the gun, and whenever they're open, the police are alerted. And all the guards on campus. That's a best case scenario, and that's not even safe.
Yeah, because I can see full odds with that. The thing is I just don't know if there's really a solution to this. And that's the frustrating thing. We all want answers, and
there's a solution.
And as we've talked here from different point of views, I honestly don't think there's nothing's really going to solve the problems. Gun control. It's going to take multiple, as somebody pointed out, it will for the states. It'll take multiple decades before an effect really shows up.
That was me.
Yeah, if not centuries.
Aren't they doing that in Australia? They outlawed guns.
All right, no, I'm from Australia. Let me tell you the story. Many years ago, there was a massacre at a place called Port Arthur by a gentleman named Martin Bryant. After that day, politicians fell on their fucking swords and went with the enact gun law reform. Please stop saying the word ban. My dad's got a fucking cabinet full of fucking rifles from several different calibers. Never happened. We didn't ban guns in Australia. Fucking didn't happen. We did ban military style guns. Full autos, semi-autos. The only people who are allowed to fucking have a semi-auto are primary producers and people that are in pest control, like shooting rabbits and all of that shit. And since the day that legislation was enacted, we have not had one fucking gun massacre in Australia. Yes, people have been shot plenty of fucking times, but there are no mass shootings. Scotland also enacted legislation after a shooting in the late 90s, and please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure if they've had any more mass shootings in school since then, but they enacted legislation, and I do believe it's curbed the stats at best, and it might have fucking put an end to it at worst. If anyone's in chat and I'm wrong, please correct me because I don't want to give out false info, but we did stop gun massacres. We enacted law reforms. We had politicians because here's your big problem, and I've mentioned this before. There's a John Oliver interview. They interview 3 Aussies, the 3 Americans, and the big difference, there's one question asked. Is it more important for you to be re-elected or to make a change that would benefit society? And the 3 American guys went, oh, get re-elected. How you fix shit is by firing every one of your fucking congressmen, every one of your fucking senators, and put mums and dads and people from your community in that fucking government and fix your fucking problem. Because I'll tell you what, the American citizens want to do it. There's a lot of people that want gun law reform. The fucking NRA just keeps throwing fucking money at politicians. They've already sent out forms saying which way you're going to vote if you have gun law reforms, because if you vote against us, we're not fucking backing you at the next election. And they all went, and shit their pants.
Yo, I mean, you don't even...
And he has a point.
Them motherfuckers.
Red Eye has a point. People hear gun reform and they think gun ban.
Yeah, up in Canada, we've done pretty good with our like. I mean, I know there are countries that have better, and I think Red Eye probably has the country has the best gun reform laws. Like guns aren't banned up here. Like you can have shotguns, you know, hunting rifles, and there's an array of things you can have. They have some weird quirks in them, like, you know, you can't modify them in any way or something like that, and it's really weird on how bad they go with that, but that's another story. But the reason the reason I said down there is I think the difference is the attitudes of the people in the country. See, it sounds like, at least from the few Australians I've talked to, and my brother that lives in Australia too, is they had a much more unified, at least in that way down there. But in the States, you know, I have a lot of friends from the States, and I talk to a lot of people from the States. It's a severe mixed bag. You know, yes, if you could actually unite actually even probably 70% of the citizens down there to be unanimous for to do a gun reform where they restrict the guns and they all stop, get rid of and stuff like that, you would see, yes, you would get similar effect. But sadly enough, due to gun saturation down there, it still would be a lot slower than it was in Australia. But the problem is I don't think you could get that critical level of support down there, because there's just so many groups that would just fight hard to both keep, bury, and then also continue to supply and smuggle illegal guns.
Yeah.
I just want to say,
go ahead, Red Eye.
I just want to say now, make no fucking mistake. The NRA tried their fucking hardest. They were down here with our version of the NRA, and they were fucking throwing money at that fucker. But if you watch that John Oliver interview, there's a very special moment where it's like it's decades on, and they interview the guy that was the most fucking loud proponent for fucking keeping our guns away. Because my old man used to have an M18. We had lots of toys in our armory because my old man used to sell firearms and make a fucking mint. But what this guy said was just mind-blowing. He said, I am so glad I failed at my task of lobbying to try and stop gun law reform. I'm so happy, because since then I look back through our history and I look to America and I cry. He sheds a tear and he weeps for the children of America and all the potential that's been fucking snuffed out. And I'm just begging you guys, it's time to start a conversation. And you're right too. The big problem is you've got how many fucking states to align? Now, I'll point this problem out, and it highlights that fucking exact flaw. Martin Bryant, that did all the shooting in Tasmania, apparently bought guns that were bought from a buyback scheme in a different state and then were sold on the Tasmanian market. And he went and shot a lot of people with those guns. Now, that I'm not 100% sure that that's fucking totally accurate, but that was reported in the media in the way back when machine, before I had internet, so I don't know how to research that. But the point is, you're absolutely right. You're going to need a uniform conformity. All the states are going to have to want to sign up voluntarily to this, a national register. There's a bunch of things, securing your guns at home. There's so many facets to the problem, and we enacted a bunch of shit real quick. We got lucky because people were looking at photos of fucking men, women, and children gunned down at a tourist fucking spot. You know, mum next to the daughter was the big one that everyone just went, fuck. and that just shocked everyone into reality. And I just want to make this comment. I'm not having a go at America because I fucking love Americans in America. You're just so jaded, and it's no big deal. You hear about a homicide on this, like, oh, there's another one. Oh, there's another one. Oh, fuck, 50 killed. That was a bit nasty. That was Las Vegas. Blip, on the radar. And everyone next week was the next thing to talk about. You've got to fucking... I hope you grab hold of this school shooting in Florida and fucking grab it by the throat and never let it go until you get the change you need. And Rant, thank you for listening.
No, appreciate your comments. I mean, I appreciate everybody's comments.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't solve things if we don't talk from every perspective, even from ones that we personally disagree with. You know, I mean, we can't get anywhere if we just go into echo chambers and just sit with people who only agree with our view. We'll never know. We'll never correct errors that we might personally have, and make no mistake, every one of us, including me, have errors in our thinking. How much you can argue, but you know, we all have errors, and that's what makes forums like this great, is because, you know, new perspectives can make us think about different things and double check things, you know, even make us consider things we hadn't even thought of. So no, I love forums like this. I love it where there's a diversity, you know. Even if somebody misunderstands, like when somebody pointed out that they thought I was attacking Christians, it made me realize, okay, yeah, I wasn't making it clear that I wasn't attacking the group. I was attacking the actions. I was attacking the choice and stuff like that. You know, that is what makes stuff like this awesome. So yeah, no, I extend my thanks to everyone too for whatever opinions you have.
And I quickly just want to apologise to Marvs. Sorry about jumping on you on the conspiracy stuff, mate. I'm not a big fan of it. 20 years ago, I was right into Bohemian fucking Grove and all that shit. But, you know, I just grew out of it, I suppose. But I apologise for jumping on you and talking down to you, dude. That wasn't cool of me. So, sorry, man. I'd buy you all a fucking beer if you ever turned up and I was. No worries.
Bit conspiratorial, but I think I have a legitimate reason. Like, I try to stick to stuff that's within the system that I can justify and not go off into aliens and stuff. Because, like, I
looked up what you said about Agenda 21. It's a legit thing. It's from some group meeting from the UN, something to do with fucking food security and all that shit. So perspective is a very fucking cool thing. We all have different perspectives. We see blocks of information, and some people see a fucking tomato, some people see a tomato. It's cool. I just want to apologise because I spoke down to you, and I just wanted to pull myself up because it wasn't cool.
Hey,
and that's why you let these conversations happen.
Yeah, that's very big of you to do that. You know, sometimes I forget to do that. I try to, but you know, and I try not to stomp on anybody meanly, but you know.
I blame Shannon. It's bloody Shannon's fault because she humanised G-Man, and now I realise that even though we might passionately disagree about shit, at the fucking end of the day, we could all sit down and break bread, have a fucking drink, talk about something else that wouldn't be a heated discussion. I'm pretty sure we've all got things in common that we could talk about calmly. It's just we happen to talk about subjects that can get quite passionate. So, and I'm guilty as sin because I'm crazy as a fucking loon.
Hey, I have creationist friends that I adore. I think they're great people. I don't hate people. I just hate ideas.
Oh, I hate
fucking eye.
Yo, Red Eye, tell me, are you a combat wombat?
Oh, dude, you know it.
I mean, there are some people that I'd be okay with hating, you know, but usually, yeah, I too side with you on hating ideas and not people.
Hating Adolf Hitler, that's okay. Hating Fred Phelps when he was a hateful old prick, that I'm quite fine with that. But I can't bring myself to hate someone that thinks, oh, you know, Agenda 21's a bigger thing than I personally think it is, and that'd be silly of me. It's like, big fucking deal. It's like even flat earthers. I'm vitriolic when we're talking about that shit, but when it came after the conversation, if we were all at the same pub, I'd shout beers. It's like no fucking drama. Well, drama's fun, but you know.
It doesn't get anywhere.
I only hate ideas. Actually, I should clarify my position. I only hate ideas and actions. That's about it. Even if my friend ended up murdering somebody in a horrible way, I would make sure I would sit on the witness stand and testify to the actions he did. But you know what? I'd still go show up in prison and talk to him once in a while. Maybe reach out to him. Hopefully, try and help him realize what he did for whatever reason.
I get that because, like, I like Pantera. One of my favourite bands. Saw them live in '94 in Australia. Their first tour, they fucking rock. Slight problem with Phil, the lead singer, and he's known to hang around with some people that might be racist, and he may have said things in a racist manner more than once. But here's the trick: I can separate the art from the individual, and it's a real shame if you can't, because you miss out on some cool shit in life if you can't.
Yeah, there's some cool shit out there that you can you can be into without being into the person or being into an action that they pull.
Yeah, and he's calmed down since he's an old on RSC. Black tooth grin, motherfucker.
Anyways, who was talking that I interrupted? Sorry.
Yeah, just touching on Red Eye's point. I can see your point about separating the art from the artist, but that's not always going to be the case, or even always going to be easy, right? For example, I think there was a manga artist in Japan who got convicted with child pornography.
Oh God.
So I loved the manga. I think it was the Berserk art there. I'm tempted to say, but I'm not sure.
Oh, I thought you said he made a manga with child porn. I'm like, what?
No. Oh, dude, come on.
Where did the tentacle touch the child?
Dude, don't go there. Don't go there.
Please don't. Please.
Please don't go there. That's called loli?
No, don't. Let's not go there. Please.
No, keep going on with your story. Keep going.
Like for example, and let's say a singer or another artist gets convicted for example something else, like let's say another case of child pornography, which means like when you buy the album, you are pretty much funding his. He is buying you by using his royalty money to buy that. So in a sense, you are contributing to that.
Didn't buy anything from Disney.
Well, that's still hating the action because he's doing. That's taking an action.
But in a sense, you are contributing directly to the problem, right? By buying the art.
Yeah,
if you don't, if you don't buy it, then he is not gonna make any money. But
here's the solution: just read it in the store.
Well, that's why, even though I'm an anti-drug person, I'm actually support of certain drugs being legalized in Canada because I want to stop because I know the money ends up going to criminal organizations which end up killing and hurting lots of people in one way or another. Whether it's other gang members or whether it's innocent bystanders. So
all right, I've got some stats for you here. I'll quickly interrupt again. You go. Sorry.
I was just going to quickly say I don't hate the person. I hate what they do, and I want to stop their actions. And that's the thing. And I think that's the answer to what you put forward. Is you just go to stop the actions. You do what's needed to stop the actions. You don't have to hate the person. You don't have to say sling them up on hot coals and let them slowly burn to death. Listen to him scream and cry. No, just stop the problem or fix the problem. Is what is been my attitude in life.
Yeah, I just wanted to give you some numbers now. Apparently, if you go and look at Colorado state government's website and the taxation and fees collected since they've legalized weed, and watch that fucking thing climb like a son of a bitch. Now, I do believe last time I checked it was $250 fucking something million in fees and taxes collected in 1 year from weed. Now, imagine the fucking numbers from California. Whew. Now, here's why Sessions won't make it a fed, like, won't fuck with it, because each state that's earning, like Colorado can stick their hand out straight away and go, well, if you're going to do that and take away that revenue, you best be giving it back, and they'll end up in court over it. Now imagine every single fucking state that's already legal and bringing in legalization doing the same thing. It'll be glorious. That's why I don't think Sessions is going to pull a fast one with weed. But yeah, taxation and fees, you guys are making a fucking fortune.
But
Yeah,
see,
but
that's money that's not going.
Mike's broken.
Your mic's broken.
Oh shoot.
By the way, again, Redeye, that hinges on the point. You are thinking logically.
Okay, how's that?
Yeah, that's better.
Better? I was going to say, well, that's the thing is, think about that. Those numbers you ran off, that's money not going into various criminal organizations, whether it's gangs, mafias, whatever, you know, just throw the name out and I'll say, yeah. But you see, that's money not going into those pockets, into funding other activities that, you know, we don't want. And that's why I said, you know, as I said, you know, and even at that, those criminals, I don't really hate the criminals so much. I hate their actions, and I want those actions stopped. You know, I mean, I would prefer reform when reform's not possible, lock them away, and stuff like that. But as I said, just like as my friend, if somebody I knew committed a murder, I'd testify against him, but I'd still go to jail to visit him at least at minimum once a year. You know,
the way to deal with the drug problem. Sure, go ahead.
I just want to add like one more point to what Redeye said. Yeah, you ran the numbers, and I mean you could see the perfect benefits, but you are missing one important point: lobbying. Drug companies, private prisons, they are gonna lobby the lawmakers. You know, again, it has to finally boil down to the people who are actually making the laws. I mean, if data and logic is gonna change their minds, then we wouldn't have these many troubles in the first place.
Global Dragon
is the point I said before. That I'll just get this in quick. That echoes the point I said before. Humans are short-sighted. You know, well, we can only handle so much in our head anyway, every one of us. But you know, people are short-sighted. You know, all they see is, you know, I want to keep my job. I want to get reelected. You know, I want to finance this. I want to buy a Ferrari. You know, that's all a lot of people see, and that, as I said, that's just another echo to the point I made before.
About the laws really favor the criminals, right? Like the mafia grew a huge amount during alcohol prohibition, and I think the way to deal with the problem is to make it socially unacceptable. Like people who use drugs are kind of looked at like like they show celebrities on TV drunk and stoned and all that shit. And there's a very positive image to like these people that do drugs, go out to the club and do Molly and have fun. It's like cool in America. Like they should make it socially unacceptable. Like if people look on that, like they're junkies, that's the way to control drugs.
But that's what they're doing with that's what they're doing with cigarette sales right now. They're showing they're showing like desperate people that are just controlled by their addiction. That's all you see on TV these days.
Yeah,
at least in America.
And up in Canada here, you can't smoke in any public place. So you know you're watching these desperate people who are just outside of malls, buildings, and stuff like that, smoking away. And smoking has really dropped in Canada. I'm actually surprised at how much it's dropped. And it didn't require banning or anything like that.
Just social pressure. Yep, that's how you control it.
And price, like they did in Australia. The government, 2 days ago, I walked into the supermarket. I'm holding a packet of 25 grams of rolling tobacco. This motherfucker cost me $35 fucking to buy. Boom. Right?
That's some incentive right there.
Here's the fucking kicker. The cigarette companies 25 years ago, before they brought in all these laws, right? They used to sell these things we called them poverty packs. That was the nickname. It was a packet of 15 cigarettes, and you could buy them for 85 cents. They designed these things for school kids to get them fucking going, because they started to bring in... I went to school in the early 80s before health regulations really kicked off in Australia, and I used to, about 12 years old, I could walk into a store and buy cigarettes. You got to produce a fucking driver's license like you're buying booze to buy cigarettes here if they think you're under 18. They won't even sell you tobacco now. It's fucking crazy. And it's a bigger offence, and I get in more trouble for growing a couple of tobacco plants in my backyard than weed plants, believe it or not. If you add up the potential fucking jail time and fines, it's like, oh, fuck, that's a bit strange.
There's this like really popular pop song in America right now, and I don't even really listen to the radio, but I'm just shopping at a supermarket, and you can hear it. Like this hook is telling kids like Molly Percocets, Molly Percocets, Molly, and like you just keep hearing that day after day. Molly it's like that's brainwashing. That's repetition keeps drilled into these children, and it's drilling in this message of doing Molly Percocets, which is like taking uppers and downers at the same time. You're gonna blow your heart up. Like there's this horrible message that people are just okay with. Like this should not be allowed, in my opinion, to be pop music.
Oh God, have you heard some of Justin Bieber's shit? Huh.
But then sometimes those things have a backfire effect that, you know, when it goes so mainstream that, you know, it stops becoming appealing, and messages like that stop becoming or actually become effective the other way. You know, it's like, oh, this artist is just trying to sell because, you know,
because
that's what he's in. Yeah.
I think the best approach is an all-round approach. Is education young. Teach kids young. Don't fucking go, oh, look, drug, oh, and demonise the fuck out of them. Just explain it to it on a scientific level young. Just go, look, these things, you know, when you get the flu and you get feverish and you feel all weird, drugs do that but make you feel different things. And sometimes you can take too much of the drug, and some of those drugs will make you go, and you'll die. And you know, but don't do a fear thing. Do a fucking education thing, because some kids will not respond well to certain methods, and other kids will respond. You know, you got to do the all-round method, or else you end up with a. And plus, apparently, according to research, there are certain people with the addictive thing, but some psychiatrists go, that's poppycock. Some people believe in it. I'm not sure, but there's a lot of fucking alcoholics running around Australia.
Something like that here in America called the DARE program, where they try and educate people on drugs. But I think it gets children more interested in doing drugs than preventing them from doing it.
Oh, dude, have you heard of it's not exactly related to drugs, but have you heard of the Watch for Squatch program here in America?
No, no.
So every now and then, every year, we would go into our little gymnasium, and we'd sit on the bleachers. And they'd put on this video that was supposed to discourage students from skipping school, right? Didn't help, but, you know, they put it on. And there'd be these two stereotypical students who just want to skip school and go do something stupid, you know what I mean? And then out of buttfuck nowhere, a dude in a Sasquatch suit would just fucking tackle them. Just hardcore linebacker tackle. Just get them out of nowhere. And that was the entire video. And then we go back to class.
Yeah, I mean even better than that. Even better than that.
Squatch. Go ahead.
There was a 90s movie, right? I forgot the name. That pretty much, like, that made age awareness, man. Like, I forgot the name. Kids, teens, or whatever it is called. I forgot the name. Do you guys remember? Like, it was a 90s movie, with fuck, what's her name? She is in crap. I keep forgetting her name. Let me see if I can dig it up.
Oh, for the sake of conversation, we'll call her that bloody Sheila.
Yeah, it is, kids. Never mind.
You said
the
Sheila,
movie
and
is.
I thought of that one dude.
Oh, that movie, Kids. Oh, I hate that movie, man. That's so disturbing.
Yeah, like, I mean, to be honest, that probably, I mean, made more teens and everybody more sexually aware of STDs and everything than any educational video you could do, pretty much. You know?
I mean, yeah, but fuck.
I just wanted to... True, but again, if you're gonna go for the multiple point of approach like you suggested, just wanted to point that out. Like, that is also something you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you go, mate.
I think there's like no point sugarcoating things like this. You just gotta show them like how raw it is.
By the way, I don't know if I mentioned this, but there was an actual dude in like town who every now and then would he'd frequent places and then he'd hit where students would skip, and he'd also frequent all the school campuses, and he actually wore a Sasquatch suit, and he would catch students who were skipping class.
Jesus
Christ! It was fucking retarded. Just out of nowhere, like that jerky commercial Sasquatch would be like, "Why aren't you in class?"
I mean, please tell me like he got busted or something. I mean,
No,
I just
no,
want
that
to know
was
what
his
happened
job.
to the guy.
That was his job.
Oh wow!
He did that
I
for
thought
a
he was
living.
doing it on his
Hired
own.
him. No, the schools hired him.
Yeah, they have truancy officers over there, don't they?
Yeah, I think that was just a straight up truancy officer. It's like, yo, Mike, you want to go do this shit for us? Hell yeah, I want to scare some students.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I mean, I want to know how it went down. I want to know how it went down.
I mean, I've only heard stories. Oh, and your mic's fucked up again, dude.
Your like mic, it just constantly gets fucked up every 5 minutes.
You need a new
It
mic.
just doesn't like me today. Well, I'm using my headset mic, and it does that. I was trying earlier to use the mic on my webcam, but you guys were barely hearing me, so.
Just boost the gain, man. You should be able to use the mic on your webcam.
Well, I'm about to go in a moment anyway, so I may as well go now, a little bit early. And I'll probably still hear you because I got to do things around the house, but I want to head out and get some stuff so I can make a second round of burgers from scratch. Thanks for the conversation. This was an awesome conversation.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Well, take care, and hope I added something.
You did.
Yeah.
Yeah. See you next time,
I'm
dude.
gonna head out too. I do have some work
Alright,
that I
goodbye.
gotta take care of. Yeah, and it's 12 p.m. here. 12 a.m. Sorry.
Then you should get some fucking sleep.
Yep.
Quarter to fucking 5 here.
It's not even lunchtime here. It's like 16 minutes from lunch.
Okay. Nice.
Lunchtime here.
Wish I could be there with you guys. But yeah, see y'all tomorrow. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
be joining for the late night stream.
I hope
See you fellas.
I hope I run into the Squatch again.
Oh yeah. Oh, you definitely gotta make a YouTube video with that.
Oh, I will
story, man.
record it. I will record
That's
it.
that's just too good to pass out.
I'll ask him who hires him. I know all the cops in town, so if he's one of the cops, I know.
Okay.
Do a ride around with them for a day and fucking record it and make a doco. That shit would be fucking awesome.
Just he doesn't actually
Say
tackle.
first,
He just walks up like I'm the Squatch.
Oh, dude, shoot it like an episode of fucking Cops, man. Seriously.
Yes!
That'd be so awesome.
Yes! That's an amazing idea.
And you could change the song and go, bad Squatch, bad Squatch.
Nah, bad kids. Yeah, bad kids, because it's the kids that are skipping school, and I'll go down to my my elementary and get one elementary student, one middle school student, one high school student from my town, and we'll just have them like do different scenes together and shit. It would not be hard for me to convince the teachers to let me do that shit, as long as I had like a cop with me, obviously. I'm gonna see about doing that. I don't know where I'll throw the video. I don't know how to edit.
Alright, how about we come up with really stupid ideas to protect schools? I nominate training grizzly bears and releasing them on the grounds to roam freely.
I thought that was just a Canadian thing. I thought that's what Canadians did. They just had like bear people amongst themselves.
No,
Like,
they've got Mounties. No, they had Mounties riding mooses.
Yeah, that's right. That's the fucking Russians with their bears. I'm sorry. They pay them in vodka. It's the only resource they got left.
Cheap vodka. Rocket fuel, man.
Oh yeah, you got and spent fuel rods.
I can't. Stupid
Yeah,
ideas.
what's up, Anon?
I've already said grizzly bears. Let's come up with really, I don't know. What's a dumb idea?
We put automatic turrets with their own AIs at the doors. I'm talking like Cylons from that one shitty, what was it, Battlestar Galactica or some shit?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, Cylons. We just put them in front of the schools. And if anybody comes up with any sort of weapon... Nah, you know what we need to do? We need to, like, equip each school with an Iron Giant, because, you know, whenever he saw weapons, he went military mode.
Why not get those pack mule looking things from Boston Dynamics and just hook them up with some fucking hardware?
Yeah.
Those things look fucking insane. I'd be terrified if I was on the battlefield and you heard a pack of those coming over the fucking hill at you. And I know they're only pack mules now, but you know someone's going to fucking weaponize the shit out of one because they built it, and some dude's going to go, you know what that thing needs? It's the same as the A10 when they built that. They actually built the fucking gun first. This is all right. Tell us your idea.
Stormtroopers.
Yes. Just the minimal armor and everything. And we all know they had minimal armor because the fucking the Emperor was cheap as shit. He was kind of already outed a Death Star, so.
Right, we've had the suggestion from Chat Robocop. No, that's actually a half decent idea.
Wait, what?
RSC suggested Robocop.
Dude, like, just a cop with cybernetic enhancements. None of the cybernetics have AI, because that's a bad idea. They're all just, like, connected to his fucking brain. And we gotta make sure this dude's on our side, first of all. We gotta do, like, countless efforts to make sure this dude's on our side. Because, like, imagine if RoboCop turned against the public.
That wouldn't happen. Murphy was a good guy. No, I'm kidding. And now I feel like a douche for making this topic up, and I think I'm going to change tack real quick. Yeah. The A10, though, quickly discuss that fucking thing. That was a gun that was built, and they went, that thing's so fucking awesome, we must make it fly, so they built a plane around it.
That sounds like the American way, honestly.
Well, I do believe it's, and who made that fucking thing? The cannon in it? Was it Westinghouse?
I don't know any gun manufacturers or any military things here in America.
Well, they make white goods most of the time, but they also manufacture some kick-ass fucking weapons, like that gun in the A10, I do believe it. Anyone in chat, if I'm wrong, please correct me.
So, you know what we should do? Have you seen Kick-Ass?
Yes, I have.
What we need to do is we need to equip an army of RoboCops and send them out to each school, and they need to have that thing that he flew in on, that jetpack with the Gatling guns. And anytime a student comes in, they just do what he did when he, like, side flew by the window, just rapid firing into it. And that's how we handle the shooters. Well, I thought we were doing crazy suggestions still.
There you
go. All right, you want a real crazy one? Load up an X-37B with a fucking one of those railguns. Just have it orbiting over America and just nail people. It will take out half the school, and you know, but
oh well, the shooter's gone. Fucking congrats. That's all we need. All we need to do is get rid of the shooter, and we're good.
No. We have to use a nuke.
That's a good option. Just have like essentially a suitcase nuke, and the principal has access to it. It's just like a suitcase on their desk. And anytime there's a shooter, they just open it, put in the code, and bam, shooter gone. Anyways, do we want to find a serious topic?
Yeah, that's a really good idea, I reckon.
Yeah. Is there any more left in the idea of Here, I got you. Fucking. There you go, foolish. Sorry. If anybody here on the live stream joins, just say something in stream chat. Could you say something in stream chat, foolish?
I can say something in stream chat.
Okay, so yeah, just come in and say something in stream chat if somebody doesn't get to you immediately.
No worries. I normally say I voted for Trump.
You voted for Trump?
Of course I didn't. I'm British.
What?
I said, of course I didn't. I'm British.
Oh. I was about to say, because I voted for Trump and I regret it. I was brainwashed at the time. It was the fear of Trump versus Hillary. It was the fear of Hillary that made me vote Trump.
I think that's a reason I've heard a lot of people say.
Yeah.
And it's a shame, but it's yeah.
You know what else I'm sad about?
What?
I voted all Republican that year. My first year of voting, and it was all Republican because I wanted to make my parents happy.
You voted for Mike Pence to get in as vice president.
Yeah, trust me, I want to kill myself.
Do you bathe with a wire brush and scrub hard each night?
Right up my ass, yep. Anyways,
I reckon right about now there'd be quite a lot of voters sort of second guessing their choice in the last election, going, maybe that wasn't such a good idea.
I mean, let me rationalize this.
Well, I just want to follow up on that wire brush question. Is that why, if you're sticking a wire brush up your ass, is that why you're called Red Eye?
No,
that was me shoving it up my ass.
Oh, sorry.
Anyways, let me rationalize this for you, Red Eye, and you should know what I mean when I say this. I'm not voting for someone like Hillary who can go up on stage and actively threaten Russia.
Yeah, no, good point. That was like, Hillary, what are you trying to start a war before you actually get elected? That's pretty fucking impressive.
Learn from Hitler. He fucked with Russia, and that just went straight down the shitter.
Nah, to be fair, oh my god, I'm about to be the devil's advocate for fucking Adolf Hitler. Holy shit, the day has come.
Uh-oh.
No, tactically, where Hitler fucked up was fighting on too many fronts, and all these generals fucking told him, "No, don't want to pick the fight with the Russians. We can barely contain what we got now in Africa. Fucking please don't." And Adolf went, "Attack the Russians!" And that's when he got fucked from that point on. And all of his generals went, "Please don't do this. We're already really stretched." Bad idea. And he went, and off it went. And that was a real good, because I'm glad he did that. I'm just saying, but tactically, that's where he fucked up.
I mean, honestly, even if he had all of his forces, it wouldn't have been as terrible of a defeat, but he would have lost anyways if he had attacked the Russians.
Because I mean, you don't fight wars on. How many fronts did he end up fighting on? I fucking
all
don't
of
even
them,
remember.
all of the fronts, every single one of them. He spread his people too thin. Anyways,
like Vegemite on me toast in the morning.
No, Hitler obviously
Bloody
didn't kill
beauty.
himself. That was a body double, and he's out there now. Obviously, Hitler's out there now.
I saw the documentary. He's on the moon. Obviously, the moon Nazi.
Exactly. He was the richest man. He could get to the moon.
Actually, do you know that the richest man in history came from Mali?
Wait, was that a faked video that dude shot his car into space?
No, I'm being deadly serious. The richest man we know of in history came from the Western African country of Mali.
Are we talking like Black Panther levels of rich?
We are talking way beyond Black Panther levels of rich. He did a pilgrimage from Mali to Mecca, and they estimated he gave away 30 tons of gold en route.
Fucking Africa, dude. They're either rich or they're poor. There's no middle.
Well, there were quite a lot of rich ones until we kind of went there and said, "You've not got a flag."
Well, it was more like we went there and we're like, we want slaves, and then these people are like, oh, yeah, we just kind of beat this other tribe. Do you want to buy them?
Yeah, I mean that's one of the reasons Mali kept being a nation up until the 1750s, 1780s, somewhere around that. Because they were one of the major slave trade ports out of the west coast. Because they already had all their trade routes into Sudan, towards Eastern Africa.
Great place to be.
I just sent my friend some work porn. Whoops.
I hope it was the safe for work variety.
Because when I say porn, that's safe for work.
You've probably just gotten your friend fired. Congratulations.
Oh no, he works on a farm. He milks cows all day and shit. Sometimes he shoves a hand up a cow's ass.
So you're sending him pork porn then?
No, I sent him orc, like the mythical creature person thing. The green people.
Frighteningly close.
No, I'm talking like green people, orc.
Yeah, as in orcs.
Yeah, orcs, orc porn, femdick, orc femdick, orc fuda. I troll my friends with that shit. Mostly because they're all religious.
And you secretly like it.
Who says it's a secret?
So any interesting discussions happening here this evening?
No, apparently not. We were talking about the failures of the American educational system, and then that spread on to the failures of most educational systems. If you would want to get, like, what do we want to talk about now? That was my topic for the day.
No, I can agree on the failings of education systems in general, and yeah, they were either taught to learn by rote, but very rarely taught to think critically.
We talked briefly on the possibility of arming teachers and how that's a bad idea. Oh, that wasn't brief. Red Eye more or less controlled the conversation.
Yeah, I may have had a bit of a rant about gun law reform. Sorry about that.
That's fine. And I couldn't hear you enough. Sorry to
I'll be honest with you, I don't think that gun reform in the US would make one jot of difference, because I don't think it's about having the arms. I think it's about the culture. I really do. I've lived in America.
Yeah. And yeah, there is a gun culture. There's also this the fuck, I mentioned it last time. I forgot.
No, you're right. There's definitely a cultural thing going on in America, but there is science of mind and nanoscopic. I must be perfectly put the qualifiers on there. I've read several articles over the last few years. The last one was a gentleman who went public, and he's such an avid NRA, or he was an NRA card-carrying member. He actually had a tattoo with the Second Amendment thing, the right to bear arms and all that. He actually got his fucking AR-15 and sat in front of the press and did it for the journalists while they pulled out his fucking drop saw and just went nya 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 and chopped it into 3 bits. And he said, "This gun will never kill anyone." It's like that's a sign of change. And I'm not saying it's going to sweep the nation, but if you can get through to one person, there's hope of maybe getting through to more with time.
So I mentioned it last time we mentioned gun control. It's not just necessarily a gun culture. There's also this weird like underculture here in America of being prepared, and I mean like there's preppers everywhere, and then there's certain degrees. Everyone here is prepared for something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, the government's going to attack us. Oh no.
Oh no. But no, it's not just that. There's people there are people prepared for the end times. There are people who just prepare for life. There's this thing here where people just want to be prepared for something. You know what I mean? That's part of the craze over having a gun, because how more prepared can you be for a situation where you might have to defend yourself than if you got a big boomstick? Aside from like having like a suitcase nuke.
Yeah, it's going to be a very difficult conversation for America to have, and you're right, it's not going to happen overnight, and it might never happen, but I will cross my fingers and hope it does.
I think a lot of it is to do with the general insecurity that you have in the US. I mean, job security is really low. Personal security is felt to be really low, and that makes people very reactive and makes catastrophization, a real common thing, and I've directly seen it.
I think we're outright talking about gun control now.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a topic we could get on.
But as I say, what I mean by a cultural thing, I think it's a cultural thing of being prepared to use deadly force in a situation.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Americans, and I understand what I have to say myself. I'm a bit of a prepper. I always have my stuff I carry every day. They tend to be very worky related, so I have my little toolkit on me. I have my multi-tool on me. I normally have a torch on me. Normally have some plasters on me.
Yeah, and I have this detailed plan of what I'm gonna grab, where I'm gonna go, who I'll bring with me, and
You got your bug out bag ready.
I do have a bug out bag, believe that or not.
Yeah, everyone's a prepper in some sort of way.
Yeah, I've got a plan for honestly, and this might not be the most popular idea, but I'm gonna grow marijuana just for the hemp, honestly, because that shit's super fucking useful if you know how to do stuff with it.
Oh, so have you got a river near you then?
No, yeah, probably. Yeah. No, the place I plan to go, there's a place not necessarily that far from me. It's more than a few hours of a drive, but I've driven longer.
Well, see, if you want to separate hemp into fibers, you've got to leave it in a river to wash through.
Yeah.
Then that'll separate out your fibers for you. So.
We do have. There is a lake that I plan on living near if there's an emergency.
You want flowing water ready for hemp.
Yeah, I could probably make a system for that out of like a PVC. It wouldn't necessarily be hard. Just get like a shovel and shit.
I don't know actually if you can do it in still water. I've never tried, but I've done it in running water. That works well.
But yeah, because there's so much I could use hemp for, honestly, and it would take quite a bit of knowledge, but learning process. I don't have any hemp in my fucking bag. I don't have that shit, but I know where to get it. Wink, wink.
Clown.
Anyways, I do have a few packets of seeds in my bug out bag just in case that's ever needed. I had some extra space. I'm like, you know what? I have these.
Yeah, my hobby's what's called practical archaeology.
Yeah.
Which I kind of enjoy. But yeah, I mean, it's weird. I work in IT, but actually the only qualifications I have are in archaeology. Just to be as far away from what I actually trained to do to what I actually do.
I'm trying to get one of my friends to join. He's like, I don't like arguing with people and that stuff. I'm like, we're not arguing. We're fucking sitting here calm and laughing.
I just want to. Nathan Paul's said in chat, so you admit it won't happen overnight. How do you suggest we protect kids in school while the very slow transition happens? That's conversation for America to have. While I'm in Australia, putting guns in the hands of school teachers is not going to help. As we've seen at the Florida shooting, there was an armed deputy outside and he did not engage the perp. So even with a trained professional who didn't go in the building, I don't know, putting the suggestion of arming teachers or staff members is quite ridiculous because then they're just not trained.
Well, I also think it's actually focusing on the wrong problem. I mean, okay, yeah, it's a horrible tragedy, and do not get me wrong on that. It's a horrible, horrible tragedy, but it's not where the vast majority of life is being lost. I think when you look at the statistics, mass shootings account for what, 0.0001% or 0.001%.
Yeah.
It's really freaking low.
Here's my 2 cents on that. You see, by the time like the teacher would have the gun out and be able to stop the student, first of all, they wouldn't know to do that unless somebody saw the student with the gun or they heard the shots, right? So that's multiple students that could be gunned down in the time it takes the teacher to get the gun. The problem isn't going to be solved with having guns within the area where the gun might be causing an issue, right? The one of the things, and this wouldn't completely stop all gun shootings. I'm not saying that. This idea would maybe stem it a bit, but if we put metal detectors at every entrance to a school building, right, and we fenced off all other entrances, right, and then if we had like an armed guard, a police officer, maybe at the, they're standing there and they're manning these metal detectors, that would definitely help a bit, but that's probably out of the price range for America.
I just want to address what Nathan's saying. He says teachers see students as their own children. Well, actually, if you go and read what most teachers have been saying through their unions on social media, they've stated that we do love your kids, but it's not our fucking job to get shot for them. Can we please have a sensible conversation about gun law reform? The suggestion that you put teachers in the line of fire is fucking retarded. They're teachers. They're not security guards. They're not paid to do that. And someone said that the guy wasn't a professional. Rent-a-cop, actually, he was a professional. He was getting paid and he got fucking fired because he didn't follow through to protect and serve. Anyone that gets paid for their duty, he might have been a really shitty professional, I'll agree there, but he was a professional law enforcement officer. He got paid.
He was a pussy of a cop, but yeah, he was a fucking cop.
Oh, no, I understand. Look, I must admit, and here's the thing, everyone's suggesting things. Nathan, why don't you go down to a teacher at the school and protect the kids then if you want the teachers to do it? No, they didn't all say that at all, mate. I can go and pull up some Facebook posts where teachers are talking about how it's not their job to fucking get shot. So please don't say all teachers said that. That's a furphy. That's what we call in Australia a fucking porky pie, mate.
So what you want to do right now, if you really want to do this, like maybe if you went down to any school really and you asked, like you waited for some of the teachers to get out and you started asking these teachers, would you be okay getting shot for a student? Most of them wouldn't say yes. Like now maybe there are a few veterans that work at that school. I had 2 that worked at mine, although one of them was like fucking 80. They might say yes. They might say, yeah, I'll get shot for the students, but on a majority, most teachers wouldn't be. I can tell you that just from knowing my teacher.
I'll just say this. Anyone that suggests putting an armed guard in a school, go and volunteer. Put up or shut up. Because it's a ridiculous suggestion. The Florida shooting proves that even with fucking police on the school grounds, it didn't prevent this shooting. Dave has a point. There's the problem, like I've said many times, it's not just guns are the problem. There's a big social problem in America. There's the bullying's a part of it. There's so many parts to it, and you got to start talking because the cycle will just continue of mass shooting, outrage for a week, then nothing done, and it's just a cycle that I've been witnessing for fucking years now, and the rest of the world, we're just sitting here going, what the fuck? We don't want to see kids dead. That's what this whole conversation about. Let's not lose focus that we're trying to stop kids from being slaughtered while they're at school. And I understand what Famous Anon said. It's a very small percentage of the problem, and there are other like the road toll. That's another good one. Many causes of death, but this one's a tragedy that can really be avoided. Yes, you're absolutely right. There are so many issues to this problem. I'm not trying to say that removing a gun. You're right. Arming teachers is a bad idea. They're there to teach. You know, they're not there to fucking get in a shooting match. School shouldn't be the OK Corral, and it shouldn't even be considered as an option. That's just my opinion. To me, it just seems fucking outrageous to put a fucking gun in a teacher's fucking possession while they're in a. Here's a thought that I've heard now. What if a teacher flips out and goes postal? And I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it could actually. There's a possibility. Yeah, I know, Nathan, and I apologise, mate. I reread your comment. I retract what I said about all teachers. I apologise, mate. It's just I'm on the outside looking in the window. I fucking love your country. I'm 46 years old. I've been into America since I was a kid. I've got a fucking fender strap